Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, sippers. Good morning. It is Monday, August 24th, 2026, and you're locked into Morning Sip. I am your class teacher. The class door is open. Welcome back to the classroom. We have the Honorable E.P. Chet Green joining us this morning. So share the live, get in the classroom early. Let everyone know that class has started. Good morning. Get in here. Let's get started.
Ever striving, ever seeking, well in love and unity. Each and every, all achieving, heal our land. You graced us with land, sea, and beauty. Oh, you fed us from our birth by providing for your children. Oh, from generation to generation, we will lift up our prayer for Antigua, for Barbuda. Lord, we pray for Antigua in the name of Jesus. Lord, we pray for our nation. Please heal our land. Please heal our land. You stood beside us in the midnight hour. Your strong arms held us all together. Now we bless you in Jesus' name, and we pray for you in Jesus' name, the name above every other name.
Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom had builded her house. She had hewn out her 7 pillars. She had killed her beasts, and she had mingled her wine. She had also furnished her table. She had sent forth her maidens. She cried upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanted understanding, she said to him, Come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instructions to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself. But if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the highest places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, she says, let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanted understanding, she said to him, Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that all her guests are in the depths of hell.
Heal our land.
Good morning, good morning, class, and welcome back to the classroom. This is Morning Sip live every Monday and Wednesday from 7 a.m. Caribbean time, 12 p.m. UK time. I see you on the live. I tagged a few people, I tagged a few of our classmates. I'm asking you to tag a few of your classmates because the discussion we're about to speak to the Honorable E.P. Chet Green, that is the Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. And he's also the chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. He's also the Minister of Parliament for the St. Paul's constituency in Antigua and Barbuda. And also, he's the man, Chet. Okay, so I'm looking forward to having a discussion with him and a wholesome discussion. When Nikki say wholesome, like Nikki, you want to get in there. Like, oh, okay, I should say the scripture first. I should calm down. I should calm down. I can, we got to do what we do in our classroom. And before we even go any further, I want to thank the Most High God. I want to thank every single sipper. I want to thank every individual for your coffees, for your PayPals, for your stars, for sharing the lives, sharing the videos, for consistently showing up for my one of 25 and one of 25 or one of 25, because this space is an independent space and I don't need to put anything to run across the runner to say that this was not a paid advertisement. This is an independent discussion reaching out to the Honorable E.P. Chet Green and him accepting. The discussion we were having before I called him is when I had Dave Ray on the platform, and I also had Mr. Kenneth Rijak, and we were talking about CBI. We were talking, well, CBI, of course, when I say CBI, you know what I mean, right? Our present, like I just had like a brain freeze over the CBI. Come on, class, get in here. Say something in the chat. When I say CBI, you break it down for me until I get my brain together. The visa bond, biometrics, every single aspect of it, we were talking about it, and we were talking about the negotiations. We were talking about how serious this issue is, and I took the onus upon the classroom, as we always hear, to go beyond the headlines. This is a teaching space, and I reached out to the Honorable E.P. Chet Green. I explained to him, what the discussion is about. Of course, he was surprised, like Nikki Phoenix, Nikki. Mm. And he accepted. So it's a big milestone. That is it. Citizenship by investment program. That's it, class. You guys are in the classroom. So I'm going to ask our regular sippers to manage the floor. When I say manage the floor, those who are going to be loud and obnoxious, y'all, just let me know so we can mute them, put them on a pause. This discussion is for us to get out as much information as possible regarding the visa bond, regarding where our government of Antigua and Barbuda presently sit, their negotiations, what are the answers for regular citizens. So this discussion is a wholesome discussion. It concerns everybody, yeah? Every single one of us, including myself. So I look forward to us having it. But I'm going to ask those who are the regular sippers. The class know the level of our discussions all the time. So I'm going to ask those in the classroom to manage the space, manage the comments. It is a space where you can speak, you speak respectfully. If you have to address anything, you have to ask a question. These are the class rules. Yeah, well, those who are now coming into the class rules. Yeah. But ensure that this discussion is always elevated and we can agree to disagree and move on. But you must leave here wiser than you came. There must be a few things that you must learn from the Honorable Minister Chet Green, EP Chet Green, and also what's happening internationally, what's happening in the EU. This is what we're about. Yeah. So class prefects manage the space while teacher focus on the discussion and bring the information to the public. So I want to offer a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, yet again, we thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the lives, our lives. Thank you for the breath of life, God, because you have chosen again another day, God, to
Despite our challenges, despite all the things that we do that is not pleasing to you, you've decided to give us, those under the sound of my voice, the breath of life again, to wake up and see a new day, a new opportunity, a new beginning, to turn a new leaf, God, and to turn towards you, that new leaf, a new hunger, a new desire, a new thirst for your word, for your will, for your purpose, God, for everything that you desire for us. And Father, everything that you desire for me, everything that you desire for my children and for my family and everyone that concerns me, everything that you desire, oh God, for this platform, everything that you desire for Antigua and Barbuda, everything that you desire for individuals in Antigua and Barbuda, no matter the status, the state, the place they are in their lives, God, mind, body, and spirit, God. Let this conversation be wholesome, mind, body, and spirit. Let this conversation be elevated, mind, body, and spirit. Let this conversation, oh God, bring a turnaround, oh God, in a unique way in how we understand international affairs and how we understand the things that are happening, God. And in the end, God, let us still know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are mighty, you are king, you are great. You have the final say in everything, God, because there's nothing that is impossible with you, God. All things are made and created by you and for you. Our lives is to worship you. Everything that we do is to worship you. May everything that I do, this space, this platform, individuals who come around me, God, those who have interactions with me, Lord, let them have a personal desire, oh God, to have that connection with you, God, so that you can download and pour and expand everything that concerns them, God. This is my prayer. This is our prayer on this day, the 24th day of August 2026. We thank you for your favor and your grace. And we say, let your will be done always in the name of the Most High God. Amen, amen, and amen. Yes. So, class, we're waiting for the Honorable Chet Green to enter the classroom. But this discussion today that we're having with the Honorable E.P. Chet Green, we're talking about the visa restrictions. We want to talk about the Antigua and Barbuda passport. We want to talk about negotiations. And one of the things that I mentioned to the minister is that he wears many hats. So Nikki gonna talk to the minister, four men in one. Is that how you say it? We're gonna speak to the man E.P. Chet Green, who is the Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, and we're gonna speak to E.P. Chet Green, the ABLP chairman, when he's gonna put on a hat, and we talk to the ABLP chairman of Antigua and Barbuda. And then we're going to speak to E.P. Chet Green, the MP. So for those who are in the St. Paul's constituency, even if you're in the diaspora and you're from the St. Paul's constituency, I'm speaking to your MPs. He's going to wear that hat. And then Nikki want to talk to the man, like the man himself, like Chet. What makes Chet Chet? Yeah, I want us to go deep in the conversation, but before we can get all of that and get the meat, this discussion and having him here in the classroom, we got to talk about the grandmother who wants to visit her family in the United States. We have to speak about a student that has been accepted at university, but these restrictions, they're not able to. We have to speak about the parent who's traveling with a child or who would normally travel with a child, whether to get them into college, whether to get them medical assistance. We have to speak about the businessmen and the businesswomen, the small entrepreneurs who had great visions and ideas and started international and online businesses. We have to speak about the citizens and for the citizens of Antigua and Barbuda who has held an Antiguan and Barbudan passport all their life. They've been able to buy a ticket, they've been able to travel, they've had the access, they've built a life, and they've had the access. And suddenly they hear words like restrictions and visa ban and the Citizen by Investment Program, CBI, and the decisions by President Trump of the United States, the restrictions and the tightening of restrictions within the EU. So, sippers, this morning's discussion, I want us to start at the very deep, like the very bottom, because we're speaking to the minister, but I want you to be active in the platform as you're listening. I want you to be active and I want you to ask your questions. I want you to be engaged in the discussion. And I'm asking everybody on this live to not attend this classroom sip like you usually do any other classroom sip, because Nikki's not like anybody else. This space is not like anybody else. This is an international affair. This is serious. And we have to be sure or to ensure that whatever grave concerns, if you've been denied a visa, if you have certain key concerns and you're watching this live while we're speaking with the minister, it is important that you make a comment. It's important that you send me a message or an email or something and find the assistance and find the support, because we can speak about it. But the Honorable E.P.CHET Green is the Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, and he's sitting in that position. And if you need the assistance, if you need whatever guidance, whatever answers we need about what the future holds for Antigua and Barbuda, especially with traveling and the free access to to the United States, this is where this discussion is. So that little green book, I thought of bringing out my passport, this morning to show my Antigua and Barbudan passport. But that little green book is not just something you pull out at the airport. It determines where you go, how easily you can get there, whether your child or children can go there to study, business, vacation, a graduation, whether you have that free access and movement to conduct business or to even extend or expand your dreams. And increasingly, it is important for us to have the access and the understanding of what the rest of the world thinks about the systems behind an Antiguan and Barbudan passport. Should these restrictions and challenges be enforced even more? Because we're at a position where we still do not know what the fine print is, like what the red stops are and how far we can go, because there are individuals who are going to get their visas and they're being denied. There are individuals who are being questioned when they're at the airport. Numerous reports in what would I say, varying circumstances. So today, I don't want us to have a political spin on any side of this discussion. I don't want us to have a it's Gaston's fault conversation. I don't want it to be it's a UPP fault conversation. I don't want it to be it's a Trump is bad conversation. I want us to understand what happened to our passport. Because on the 16th of December 2025, President Donald Trump signed the Presidential Proclamation 10998. An Antigua and Barbuda name was there. Not in a Facebook post, not by an opposition politician, in an official United States presidential proclamation. And classroom, listen carefully to what the United States itself put on the record. Antigua and Barbuda has historically operated citizenship by investment without residency. The government of Antigua and Barbuda has responded in numerous emails and negotiations to inform the United States that they've placed certain restrictions, that they've tightened restrictions. Then came restrictions affecting new immigrant visas, visitors' visas, and student and exchange categories. So it began to expand. Existing valid visas were not simply cancelled. And it's important for that distinction to be made this morning. Then Antigua and Barbuda entered the United States Visa Bond Program. The government said it changed things: residency requirements, biometric identification, verification, screening, cooperation with the United States immigration authorities. And then Prime Minister Gaston Brown wrote to President Trump. I'm giving you a chronological review. Then the Ambassador Ronald Saunders delivered a diplomatic note to Secretary of State Marco Rubio asking America to review the restrictions. And while we are trying to resolve America, Europe, on the other hand, enters the classroom, kicked down the door practically on June 25th, 2026, and they're formally asking Antigua and Barbuda to phase out its citizenship by investment program by June 1st, 2028. We're in 2026. That's in 2 years approximately and months. So, class, this is no longer a little CIP argument. This is about international mobility, access, freedom of movement to an Antiguan and Barbudan passport. I'm checking to ensure the minister is not here as yet. Let me see if he can get in. He says I need to add him, but I don't know how to add him. Honorable EP, how I add you? I can't add you. Class, let me play a song or something and give him a call and see what's going on, because we need him to get in here. I sent him the link. I'll tell him how to do it. 1 second.
Ever striving, ever seeking, well in love and unity, each endeavoring, all achieving, heal our land. You've graced us with land, sea, and beauty. Oh, you fed us from our birth by providing for your children. Oh, from generation to generation, we will lift up our prayer for Antigua, for Barbuda. Lord, we pray for Antigua in the name of Jesus. Lord, we pray for our nation. Please heal our land. Please heal our land. You stood beside us in the midnight hour. Your strong arms held us all together. Now we bless you in Jesus' name, and we pray for you in Jesus' name, the name above every other name.
Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom had builded her house. She had hewn out her 7 pillars. She had killed her beasts, and she had mingled her wine. She had also furnished her table. She had sent forth her maidens. She cried upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanted understanding, she said to him, Come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instructions to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself. But if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the highest places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, she says, let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanted understanding, she said to him, Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that all her guests are in the depths of hell.
Heal our land.
Yes, class. So the Honorable EP was watching me on the live. I just resent him the StreamYard link. I'm asking if you're here on the live, tag a sipper, tag if you're new to the sipping space and new to the classroom, welcome to our classroom. We are live every Monday and Wednesday from 7 a.m. Caribbean time, 12 p.m. UK time. This is an independent space, independent platform. He's coming in. I just spoke to him because I think he just messaged you that he was getting an error message from the link that I had sent to him earlier. Good morning, Uncle James. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, everybody. So I'm saying welcome to the new sippers in the space. He's here. Welcome to the new sippers in the space. Honorable EP, you're upside it down, I think. I don't know, but your camera is showing me the other way around. I don't know if when I bring you to the screen, but you gotta, okay, good. Yes, I'm saying it's an independent space, and you can support this space by sending me coffees. The coffee link is there. I have my sippers in the class that can send you in the chat room the PayPal link and our coffee link for you to support this independent space. I'm not going to have anything running on the here with one of those runners to say this is not a paid ad. We know this is not a paid ad. There's not a paid discussion. It's an honor to be able to have the Honorable EP. Green come and sit in the platform and ask the questions, answer questions. We want to talk to him. I want to talk to him, you know. Many of you have questions too. And as I look and I see the questions, in the chat, I'm actually writing those down too. So good morning to everyone. He's just setting up his camera, and I just want him to know I'm still seeing him upside down. I'm not sure because he's getting some assistance. So someone is assisting him. He's here. Don't worry, guys. He's right here. I'm looking forward to this chat. We're going to be speaking to four men in one, the man that wears four hats, okay? The Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, the ABLP chairman of Antigua and Barbuda, the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party, and the MP for St. Paul's, and also the man EP Chet Green himself. You might need one more shift because you're sideways now, so maybe just one more time. This way. Nice, that's it. And then up to you this way so I can see you good. Nice, that's it. But we're not seeing your face. Okay, you're a bit too far away from the camera though. We want to get a close up. So when you're about to say something, I want it so when I screenshot it, you're right there. I shouldn't start. Behave yourself, Nikki. So, class, welcome to the sip, and I thank you to the sippers. Remember, somebody says upside down is normal, but you guys gotta tell me because it looks better now. So when he comes on the platform, you can tell me if he's upside down or not. But whoever you know is usually in the sipping class and not there, you guys need to tag them in the chat and tag whoever else you would remember and who would want to see this live, this discussion especially. And also, I thank you to the sippers in the class, my ones of 25s. I see you posting the PayPal link and the coffee link, and I see you telling individuals send stars and support the space. Thank you very much for all of that. I'm just waiting for the Honorable EP Chet Green to get himself settled, and then we're definitely going to have our conversation. He's going to give me a nod when he's ready. He's not fully ready as yet. When he's ready, he's going to give me a nod, yeah? Yes, so class, I want to explain to the ordinary citizen. I want the Honorable EP Chet Green, as I was saying earlier, with him sitting in the classroom this morning. Today, this is the opportunity for the man who is the Foreign Affairs Minister to give us answers, to give us a discussion of substantial answers to questions that we have. We know that the situation is not going to evaporate. We know that, but we want to know what is the government's position, what is the government thinking. We want to know various questions behind the movement of the government's decision, etc., and how that affects us as regular citizens. Whenever you're ready, Honorable EP, you can give me a nod. You ready? I Okay, I'm gonna add you to the platform now. So, good morning, class. The Honorable E.P.CHET Green, Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, is in our classroom here on Morning Sip, Monday, August 24th, 2026. It's a long-awaited interview because I contacted him since the beginning, with the ending actually of July, when we were having these discussions regarding visa restrictions, visa ban, who's doing the negotiations, what's going on behind the scenes, because many individuals have questions, and he's here to have that discussion with us. Honorable EP Chet Green, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nikki. Good morning to your classroom, to your sippers.
Yes, oh,
It's
here
a
you,
new it's
here
a new
you.
designation of students.
A great elevation. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm delighted to be with you, and I listened from the very get go. I didn't realize I was not in the classroom, and
You
so
wasn't from the
don't give me any suspensions or anything for my first day.
You
I
wasn't
listened
probably
from
no.
the prayer all the way through. I listened to you, and so I'm pretty much aware of your expectations of this program.
Thank you. I thought you were gonna wear a red shirt. I got dressed for you. Like I literally went and got this shirt.
You don't know
Look,
Chet
look,
Green.
look, look.
You don't
Oh
know
my
Chet Green,
God.
but you said it's not a political conversation. So
I
therefore,
know, but I thought if I wore red and white, the answers would come out a bit easier. It would flow.
no. When there are moments of national interest, you do not politicize them.
Yes, of course.
And to the extent that we are aware people are very political, I have to give that level of leadership.
Yes.
When there's no need for political conversations. I like your prayer. The fact you ask for a wholesome conversation. I like your narrative at the start of the program, asking your members, your team, your sippers, to be mature, responsible. I mean, it's first time joining you, and I can see from the tenor of your introduction that what you're seeking to have here is a national discussion, and so I'm always for that.
But that's
Sometimes,
that's always been my space. I might be a bit straightforward and a bit sharp.
well, you and
That's
I have had our run-ins, and so I'm glad to see you normalize the relations and that you are now in a space where we can speak to each other. Because this is what we need in this country: more people speaking with each other, not at each other. We
yes.
won't always agree. Let's be very clear. Even from the get-go of this program, we may
Yes.
not agree on anything I said this morning, but the important thing, we're having a conversation. And if
Yes.
we have that level of maturity that allows us to listen and to engage, even with ideas that are opposed or counter to ours, then it's a positive step.
Yes. Thank you for accepting. And it is definitely an honor to have you here. I'm not just saying that, but it certainly is.
I'm delighted.
So my question, my very first question, we're just going to jump right into it. Honorable EP Chet Green, how did we get here? What happened to our Antigua and Barbuda passports?
Well, the Antigua passport is still a strong passport. We're 24th in terms of the strength of the passport globally. In the region, we're like number two, number three. That it fluctuates because it's a daily activity when countries seek to strengthen their passports. The issue of border control, immigration, those are sovereign decisions and positions that you cannot challenge. In the case of the United States, let's do that one first. We have become accustomed of having or to having U.S. visas and access to the U.S. Over time, we see movements, various administrations changing the goalposts. There was even once a U.S. embassy in Antigua. That has changed. Then we had to go to Barbados for visas, which we still do. And then came December 16th of last year with a presidential proclamation. You cited the number of it, 10998, which took Antigua Barbuda into a different direction. Now, our concern is the historic arrangement, but let me be very clear. Again, I repeat, those issues of immigration or border controls, those are sovereign decisions made by sovereign governments. We ourselves in Antigua and Barbuda decide who can come to Antigua and who cannot come. There are some nations in the world that require visas to come to Antigua, and there are some who don't. Um, how does this affect us? It's a fair question. It affects our customs. It affects our familial ties and relations. It affects trade in some ways. Because we every new day, somebody else loses the visa privilege by way of visa expiration. And until the US regularizes its position on the matter and promotes a new policy, then we just have to abide. There's nothing that anybody can do about it. Okay? We saw just last week where US court would have ruled, but the US legal system is such that is that final? We wait to see. Uh, it affects our students. UE5 Islands cannot accommodate all of our students, neither numerically nor in terms of their interests. The number of courses and types of studies that we encourage our people to undertake, we don't offer all of it in Antigua at UE. And so therefore we need to have avenues for students to explore and exploit their abilities to learn, to train, to develop, to grow. Um, for trading purposes, United States is still a number one trading partner. And for the life of me, I wonder how do you treat your trading partners like that? So I think a businessman will not have to buy in bag, as we would say, not having the opportunity to go to a trade show in the States or to go himself or herself and identify products that are ever changing. But again, with all of those challenges, there's one underlying point I wish to make that's a sovereign decision made by a sovereign government. We hope they said that in June it would have been they would have reviewed their position. We have not heard of any reviews as yet, so we're waiting to review. In the meantime, it is what it is.
I know that that's the position that we're at, but how did we get here?
Well, we
We've
got there
started.
by a struggle of pen. A struggle of pen. There's
Um,
nothing that we did that I know of that gave rise to this decision.
there's
You
a
can't tell me
particular
it's a
line.
CIP program. I'm sorry,
There's a particular line here where it says Antigua and Barbuda has historically operated citizenship by investment without residency.
and that is not. I mean, we know that's not true.
One second, and because of this also the EU is giving the EU Commission has formally asked Antigua and Barbuda to phase out the citizenship by investment program by the 1st of June 2028. So the
But
EU
don't just
has
say
been
Antigua
very
Barbuda. Don't just say Antigua Barbuda because it's not just Antigua Barbuda that's CBI programs. It is
yeah.
all those countries in the Eastern Caribbean that have CBI programs that have been asked to phase our programs out. There have always been, for some time now, a conversation about the CBI programs and what it does to the EU region. Our Schengen visa privilege is something that is part of the strength of our passport. Schengen countries are not necessarily the cup of tea for Antigua and the Barbudans, but certainly it goes a long way in selling this program. Now, this CBI program is a non-tax program. It allows the country resources that we otherwise would not have unless we find another, such or similar program. It has been attractive. It's an investment. Persons wanting a second passport, second citizenship, have come to these countries: Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, Saint Lucia, Grenada, Saint Kitts Nevis. 5 countries in the Eastern Caribbean have been doing very well. The programs that we say non-tax, so our citizens do not feel any burden of taxation, and we need to have these very revenues to manage the education, infrastructure, the health, all the things that we do with these funds. In our case, Antiguans and Barbuda know that the CBI funds have been used for about everything. Sending patients to Colombia for cancer treatment services, infrastructure development here, you name it, because the list goes to Parliament so often, and people comment on it. And so
Um,
we know that these resources are used very wisely to assist in national development. Now, you take those resources away, it forces the government, any government, to consider or reconsider ways of raising funds. And the next stop perhaps will be some taxation. We do not necessarily wish to add any taxes on the people of this country, but at the same time, we cannot afford to have the level of and quality and standard of living diminish come 2 years when these resources are not available. And so at the moment, we are not only engaged in conversations, but we're also actively looking for other options and ways to complement those resources or those revenue streams that will come to an end in 2 years' time, left to the EU. And so back to the question of how we got here. We got
yes.
here by a decision of the EU where they have taken the decision that they would rubbish our program in 2 years' time. We have gotten here by the United States President Donald J. Trump, who by the stroke of a pen on December 16th decided to take away a long-standing privilege that we enjoyed.
I wanna
Again, sovereign decisions.
Mhm. Well, I want to go back to that question, how did we get here, and go a little bit deeper, because in June 2025, when there was a Washington Post article that came out, Prime Minister Gaston Brown responded, and he told individuals who, I can actually play the clip of individuals who are nervous and that the government of Antigua and Barbuda, which you're a part of, are very skillful and skillful negotiators. So I'm going
And
to ask.
I'm sure you're not doubt that. I'm sure you don't doubt that.
He said that in June 2025 before the proclamation. So I'm asking, when, Minister, when did the government of Antigua and Barbuda first know that Antigua and Barbuda was at risk? And I'm going to add that some other questions with that. What exactly did Washington tell you needed fixing, as in told the government of Antigua and Barbuda? And did the government tell the Antiguan public at that time that our passport or the Antigua and Barbuda passport was at risk? Because to get here, there had to have been some form of notice, a queue, a request, something from the United States.
Well,
So
you may be surprised, based on your assertion that they had to have been, you'll be surprised to learn that the course of events are just as you recounted them. Washington Post carried the story in June 2025, and we were satisfied because there was no advance notice. We were satisfied that it was one of the typical stories you find from time to time coming out of these centers. And so Prime Minister responding that we are skilled negotiators, it is a statement of fact. I don't think there's any Antigua Barbuda citizen at home or in the diaspora who would disqualify or discredit the assertion of the Prime Minister that the government is skilled and skillful in negotiating. But again, what we're seeing here is a sovereign decision over which we have no control. Nobody believed the United States would have been so rabid against these countries in the Eastern Caribbean. We've seen decisions by the U.S. government and other countries of different types, different nature, but nobody expected that the visa privilege enjoyed by Caribbean countries would have been so, violently discontinued. And so when the Prime Minister said we were skillful negotiators, once we saw the Washington Post story, we started to do some rounds. We don't have lobbyists in Washington like other countries do, but we do have a very strong presence in Washington. Ambassador Saunders, who leads our mission in Washington, is easily the most astute and sought after ambassador of all Caribbean countries and even larger countries. I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm part of the government, but Antigua Barbuda is certainly punched above our weight at that level. You need to just maybe follow Washington and the OAS to see what's happening in that space and how very much Antigua Barbuda is revered.
yes,
And so once that story came to the fore, we did some soundings, and the Prime Minister was able to make a declaration based on the response we were getting. So there was no advance notice. There was no warning that we could have, gone off of. We
yes,
were going strictly from what we were able to discern from conversations that there was no such thing. Then you have a dichotomy between what you get out of Barbados and what you get out of Washington. And, you have to. This diplomatic space is not a walk in the park. You have to always be trusting but verifying, making sure that you're on top of things. And though we have come to this point where our CBI program is under threat by the EU and our passport and visa privileges by the US. I don't think it has anything to do with the government, because if it were the government, I don't think it will see the global unfolding that we're seeing, because this thing is really not just Antigua Barbuda. It's not even just the Caribbean. It's global. When you go to the TCN program, you hear countries in Africa also screaming about it. The United States is sending non-nationals to every country in the world, those who accept these non-nationals on conditions sometimes that you have to push back against. And we've been very clear. We went to Parliament to make sure that the people of this country are made aware of the TCN program, how we're treating and how we're relating to it. And I think at the end of the day, we have been upfront to the people of this country. We have been reporting to the people of this country. The Prime Minister says goes on radio every Saturday, once on island, and gives an update. I don't think it's done in any other Caribbean country. Persons are allowed to call in to ask questions, to proffer ideas and suggestions. Um, I myself, as Foreign Minister, remain available to any media house or any journalist who wish to engage. Other ministers of government likewise. But I say the Prime Minister myself because the issue we're talking about now are predominantly in that sphere of the Prime Minister and the Foreign Ministry.
So, in essence of what you just said, are you saying that the government underestimate the international risk created by the citizenship by investment without
No,
the meaning?
I'm not saying that at all. Our CPI program has been going on since 2009 or thereabout, 2012. Before he took office, he started under the former administration. And since then, it has always been a program on the threat, on the siege. The European Union has always been knocking at it. They're concerned about security issues. They're concerned about its impact on the tax base. So it's not been an easy road. But then again, it's not the kind of thing that you come to the public with every day. You have to trust your government to negotiate some things. And everything, I think I said in Parliament, we don't negotiate the noise. We keep our people informed. We keep our people abreast. But we do not shout it across the waves and make noise and stink about it. But the CUI program has been under threat for a number of years, from its inception, because what the Europeans are seeing is that persons who are investing in the CBI program are persons who, in some instances, um, they consider tax leaks. We don't see it as that. We see it as being a competitive program. They have their own passport program, their own visa programs. The United States has its golden visa. President Trump started a new one recently, some $1 million program. So all these countries, Canada has theirs, everybody has theirs. Small has its own advantages, but it also has a lot of disadvantages. Just
So
being
I
small.
want to I want to speak more about the government and the negotiation regarding the passport. In 2017, Canada put a visa restrictions on Antigua and Barbuda passport, and then I think it's in 2023, the beginning of 2023, there was some ETAs that was included to the UK when you're traveling to the UK from with the Antigua and Barbuda passport. Now we're at the position with what is happening with the visa. And the EU is now asking Antigua and Barbuda to phase out the CBI by the 1st of June 2028. So if you're saying that these are sovereign countries, sovereign decisions, international decisions, are you sitting here telling Antigua and Barbuda that, one, the government, you should tell us if you have a plan or not of what you're going to do to phase it out? And two, if you're not going to phase it out, we're expecting that the EU will also close its doors on Antigua and Barbuda?
Well, guess what? In this world of diplomacy, it's all about a discussion. And so we're not just saying phase it out, full stop. We're seeking engagement. And so we're seeking engagement with the EU to see if there's some quote unquote last ditch effort or approach that could be used to have the CBI programs extend in terms of the life of the programs. So we're not just going to shut the door because we're told to shut the door. We're going to seek to engage because the CBI programs are of great value to our economies, to our people. And like I said earlier, if you remove the CBI receipts, a void is created. That void can be filled easily one way, through taxation. And it's not the ambition of governments to tax the citizens. And
But
so
why would
The CBI representing a non-tax regime is certainly a preferred arrangement for all countries. And I
but
speak
but
not only
why
of Antigua, but all the countries.
but why would taxation be the only option for the government?
I'm
What
not
is the
saying say
vision?
and they said the easiest one.
The easiest one. So where is the
You see,
vision
let's
of
face it, Nikki. Let's face it,
wait,
Nikki.
wait,
We
one
have
second.
tried.
I want to ask a question. 1 second. I want to ask a question because this CBI and phasing out the CBI is a big question and a big a concern to Antiguans and Barbudans. And I know the majority of the income coming into Antigua and Barbuda is from the CBI. And I do not understand the international pressures that the government of Antigua and Barbuda have been facing and will face in the future. But as you represent the government of Antigua and Barbuda, other than taxation, what is the vision of the government of Antigua
But
and Barbuda?
I was about to answer that.
Yeah,
I was going to answer with some historical perspectives.
Yes,
We
go
would
ahead.
have gone in international gaming. You recall that one?
Yes.
A very friendly country of ours to the north was hundreds of millions after we got a judgment from WTO. Never honored. We went to offshore banking. That too was put under immense pressure until it collapsed. Then we shifted to CBI. So it is not we don't have the ability to craft programs. But every time you craft a program, you get this pushback from the North and from Europe because they see it as erosion of their own money flows. We will, and we're already looking at other, and please allow me not to discuss the details,
Of
but we
course.
already look at alternative programs um, to complement or to supplement the possible loss of CBI revenues. As I make it a point that the easiest way for any government is taxation. But I also made the point, I wish that this point be added for anybody who wishes to repeat it. That is not our ambition, not our wish, not our desire to go in that direction. It's always better to have something like CBI with a non-tax regime so that you don't put the burden of taxes on our country or our citizens. Again, small population. If we had hundreds of thousands, then you could spread a tax burden across hundreds of thousands. But when you look at the pool of persons eligible to pay taxes, the workforce, the business community, it's a very small pool. And so therefore, any additional tax become onerous, become burdensome. It is not the ambition or intention of government to go in that direction.
So, Minister, who today can actually be like can actually pay the fee for the visa bond? We have individuals in Antigua and Barbuda who's never had a visa. We have individuals who want to go away and study. They want to go to the United States. They want to start businesses. That has actually been like there's been a halt to that. Someone listening to you today, what is the plan of the government, and who would be able to pay a visa bond at the moment of $15,000?
Again, let's be very clear. The only role that this or any government could play in that regard is to continue to seek engagement with the US government. The question of who can pay a visa bond, the question of how much will a visa bond be, they are beyond any government of this country or any of the countries in the Caribbean. It's a sovereign decision made by the United States in its own discretion. And so we're hoping that somewhere in our conversations, ongoing conversations, that we see a change in that posture of the United States, that decision about visa ban and I got to be very respectful about it because again, like I said, it is hurtful. It is a very vexing issue, but one over which we have no control. And if nothing else, I wish the people of this country to do via this program this morning, as we have a conversation as a family, as a country, is one, acknowledge the fact that this visa ban or the revocation of visa and visa privileges, it is a sovereign decision made by the United States of America over which this government, this country has absolutely no control. That we continue to trust and rely on ambassadors or the diplomatic services to engage the United States with the hope that in those negotiations we can see a reverse of position and something that is more palatable for the Antigua Barbuda people. We have presented all the arguments. There are times when you feel like you're getting through, other times when you feel like it's stonewalling, other times you wonder, well, what is really happening here?
Give
Because,
us some details. If you can go a little bit more into some of those negotiations and some of your arguments. What is the argument that
well,
the
I
government
think
is
I've laid
trying
out some of it earlier,
to
that the United States remains our number one trading partner. And so you'd expect that as a trading partner, you have access to that trading venue, that trading lane. I made a point earlier about our students and education. We are significantly hampered by the visa arrangements for students because a number of students not only go to USA, but they go through the USA. Students go to Mexico and other places. Yes, you can always find ways around them, but the most convenient way of traveling to Mexico is by the US. And so, for trading purposes, for education purposes, for health purposes, I had a member of a prominent family in Antigua called me about 3 weeks, a month ago, about a family member who was ill. Services not available in Antigua or anywhere in the Caribbean, but could not get a visa. Now, you can understand how that cuts me to the core. Not to mention that family and that individual who was suffering, because traditionally, historically, even that person would not get a visa, a letter from the foreign ministry to the Barbados embassy would have facilitated, that kind of visa for the purpose. It's just not happening. And so, health, education, trade, and the familial ties. Look at this Labor Day that's coming up in the US. We've had for over a decade now elements of carnival celebrations taken to the diaspora, so that the continued link between home and diaspora continues. And a number of our artists were told no visas. A number of artists had their visas cancelled because they'd have gone to the States and performed. Mark, you in some instances can't follow the USA, and gotta be honest in this conversation, some of the artists did not do it the right way. So they end up working in the United States without the requisite visa, right? I mean, even an appeal for some leniency in that regard, it all fell on deaf ears as they're tightening their systems.
I wanted to make a correction when you mentioned about the CBI. It started in 2013 instead of 2009 when you said that. I want to ask a question, Mr. Minister. Why should a citizen by birth in Antigua and Barbuda bear the consequence arising and the consequences arising from concerns about the citizenship by investment program that citizens of Antigua and Barbuda, some would say they have not seen the investment and some would say they have absolutely nothing to do with it?
I don't understand the question.
Why should a citizen by birth of Antigua and Barbuda bear the consequences arising from this citizenship by investment program for some individuals that had absolutely nothing to do with it? The government says that the income from the citizenship by investment program enhances the country infrastructure, etc. From one of the questions I've gotten, there are individuals who are saying they see no evidence of that, and there are other individuals who said I have absolutely nothing to do with it. So why
Well,
does
again, I can only ask that we be honest in this discussion. I don't see the question as being a fair question, because a citizen of this country cannot, in any honesty, claim not to know where the resources from the CBI or how they're spent. Those are reports given to the Parliament ever so often. Uh, if you look at our tax base and the level of services and the quality of life we enjoy here in Antigua Barbuda, it is easy to discern that local tax formation could not maintain or sustain what we are accustomed to. An individual may not see or may not get a benefit because he or she may not be sick. But again, it's not about individual benefits only. They're communal benefits, societal benefits. When a school is repaired or a school is built, as in the case of Sir Novel Richards, you may have a child going to that school. You may not even have a relative going to that school, but you cannot deny that the school is not being built for the benefit of education of our children. And the resource from CBI, we know, are plowed into that particular facility. And I give that as one example. And the examples are all across. When Mount St. John is resourced with new equipment to service healthcare in this country, let's take dialysis patients, for example. The individual who wrote that question may not be a dialysis patient, may not even have someone close to them who's a dialysis patient, but they know that dialysis patients do get services in Antigua on a daily basis, and the funding must come from somewhere. And so the CBI resources have assisted the government in one, maintaining a level of taxation on the citizens, right, which makes us the lowest tax jurisdiction in the Eastern Caribbean, help us to maintain a quality and standard of life in this country, which is second to none in the Eastern Caribbean and superior to many across the wider Caribbean, and even in some global centers.
Mr. Minister, you're going to have me interject when you say quality of life in Antigua and Barbuda. Maybe
Yes.
quality of life for yourself as a minister, but there are
No, no,
numerous
no.
individuals.
Go
One
ahead. Go
second.
ahead.
No, there are numerous individuals who are not having the best quality of life, not access to water. The utility bills are through the roof at the moment. You should see social media at the moment. You should see the reports regarding Mount St. John's Medical Center and what's happening up there. The reports with regards to Clearview, the mental health issue on Antigua and Barbuda and the streets.
Mhm.
Mr. Minister, we can't say the quality of life like that.
Okay, so let us strip it down one by one, Nikki.
Go ahead.
I never said everybody in Antigua is super rich or that everybody in Antigua Barbuda is enjoying the best quality of life. I'm making a general statement. And you cannot deny that the quality of life in Antigua Barbuda is superior to countries near and far. And I'm making the point that it is assisted by the receipts from the CBI. That's what we're discussing. In terms of our road infrastructure, there's no Antigua and Barbuda in the country today who would disagree with me to say that they see improvements in the road conditions when compared to, let's say, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. There's significant improvement. In terms of the water situation in this country has been in a state of drought since we came to office in 2014. The government has made significant investments in reverse osmosis water. It has not quite fixed the totality of the problem because even with RO water, it has its own downside. While we talk about the rainfall and Potworks Dam, with the RO plants, we have a couple of problems. One drawback is the fact that these plants from time to time go offline, so got some weed and other problems that they may find, technical electrical problems. You also have the water distribution network, which is a major problem in water distribution in Antigua. So whilst APU is producing water at levels never foreseen, same APU has a problem with water distribution, with lines underground, which every day are being replaced. Every day, new lines are being put in place, and it will take some time. And then you have new housing projects, which require new and additional lines. So, again, when I say the quality of life in Antigua is better than many countries, I'm not saying that we are where we want to be even, but I'm talking about defending the receipts from CBI being pumped into life and living here in this country. When we talk about Mount St. John, I'm not saying Mount St. John doesn't have its challenges. I've seen some of it firsthand myself. But I also know that in another era or in years before, dialysis patients did not have the level of comfort that they have in the service they get. We know that Mount St. John has improved in some ways. And it's a question of, again, let's be honest, there will never be an optimal situation in some areas. Because as the population grows, the demand for healthcare service increase, education services increase. And so it's a moving target, which you have to always be chasing. You need MONEY to do most of it. And so that's why I thought this morning that the conversation with the CBI and what the receipts they represent to a national development, to a quality of life that we're raising a question, is so important. And
So,
as a country, we need to zero in on these matters in a very factual way. Yes, you can become emotional. Because if you go to Mount St. John and you see somebody crying in the reception area, right? It touches you if you're a human being. And you may ask a question, and you may hear that there's no doctor to tend to that person or that something. And to the average person, sometimes we don't even understand the medical needs of the patient or what is being done. And so we leave that space sometimes based on emotions, feeling that everything is lost at Mount St. John. The other
but
times when yes, the doctors may have dropped the ball or may drop the ball, and that's what I say about that's the point I make about a moving target. Have to always be seeking to improve it. Mount St. John today needs to be expanded. The population has grown. The level of sicknesses, illnesses in the country, right, to be covered, have changed. And so we're now looking at building an additional structure to complement the number of beds that Mount St. John has currently, because there's need for additional beds at that facility. Even the old Halberton Hospital, some services are now being, made available by retrofitting and upgrading some of the buildings at old Halberton Hospital, because the need for healthcare services is just expanding. The government
okay.
just a week, 2 weeks ago, introduced a new eye care program because eye health is now another major issue.
I
So
want to,
again, let us discuss these things dispassionately but responsibly in terms of our national um, development, our national development needs, and of course, keep the question of money and how we pay for them in the frame. How do we pay for them is always going to be a very important question.
I want us to stay on the CBI, and I want to know what did the government in Antigua and Barbuda do to make the change. So I want to read, because I put a synopsis together from what the government said. The government of Antigua and Barbuda said that this is an opportunity, sorry, to give you a fair opportunity to give a full explanation without being interrupted. In its August 2nd statement, the government says it has strengthened the CBI residency requirements through legislation, that you established biometric cooperation with U.S. Homeland Security, that you cooperated with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement regarding return of Antigua and Barbuda nationals lawfully removed from America, and also indicated willingness to cooperate concerning certain third country nationals with national capacity. The government of Antigua and Barbuda, your government, also argues Antigua's historical U.S. visa overstay rate is only a little above 1%. So my question is, take those measures one by one and tell our classroom what has actually been completed, not promised, but what has been completed from those that I've listed.
All right. The issue of cooperating with the US is a daily issue, especially and more so since the visa restrictions are placed on us. We are ensuring that there's no gaps on our side that could cause the US government to hold out or give rise to any decision to deny Antiguans the continuation of the privilege. And so, in an early iteration, they said that we needed to have our biometric systems um, complement each other. That is work in progress.
Okay.
Okay. The issue of the third country national TCN program, we went to the parliament. We made our position known to the nation. The vast majority of Antiguans and Barbadians weighed in support of the government's position. That remains a discussion between the Antigua and Barbuda and the United States. We wrote to Washington, the capital of US cedar government, and we await a response to our last email, our last letter to them. And so that is where that one is.
Is that
We
the, just want to correct, just sorry, the letter, is that the letter that the Prime Minister sent to President Donald Trump
That's
himself?
correct. That's our last.
Okay.
We have not had a response from the US government with respect to our last offer.
Okay. And just to add to, also with the position, when you said you went to Parliament and told the public of what the position is, someone who might be watching and not aware of that position. So once you finish your question, you can add and just remind us on what
But
that
is that
position.
we remain open to discussion with the United States. We see, just like I said, the United States has a sovereign right to manage its borders. We too have a sovereign right to manage ours. And so we will not accept third country nationals in Antigua and Barbuda without certain conditions being met. One of those conditions, of course, is that we don't want any criminals in the country. I think that's a fair position. We don't want any pedophiles in the country. We don't want any drug smugglers, gun totters, gun runners, in the country. We also want to make sure that there is support for those persons who come to the country. It cannot be just offload persons on Antigua Barbuda for the treasury. So we want to know that there's going to be support from the US for those persons. So the details of that program will determine, what we do, what we don't do. But it's not just load a plane and send to Antigua Barbuda and we accept it. We have a sovereign right to protect and defend our borders, and we are doing just that. We, as I said earlier, every day we cooperate with the United States on something else, and some resolution at the OAS, at the United Nations. There's always that level of cooperation between our two countries. But cooperation, of course, we have to make sure we protect our national interests as well. Okay? The
Yeah.
issue of overstays of just under 1% of Antigua and Barbudans, we would have made the point that our country, our citizens are not the ones who go to the States and stay, in large numbers. At the same time, too, with all of the birthright issues that came up in the States, we also encourage our people to watch that space carefully. A case was made, a point was made about a number of Antiguan females having children in the United States and coming away not paying medical bills and all that. So we also, kind of advise our citizens. Can't tell you not to have a child in the United States. That's a personal decision. But if you do so, please pay your bills so that it doesn't become an issue for you and your child over time, because the records are there, and it could be your actions could deny you and your child certain rights or privileges. Not to mention, it can be conflated, where an entire country is made to feel the weight of those sort of indiscretions.
Okay. So I have a question coming in from WhatsApp. It says the government has the final say on who the US sends. So what's the real issue?
Well, there's no agreement yet. That's the point I was made. There's no agreement on this matter. We
So
have
we have not
given
agreed on an
we
amount
have
from
we
government.
have given a counter proposal to what they propose. They have not yet responded, and so until they respond, the matter is in abeyance.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned about not wanting any criminals, pedophiles, and drug pushers, etc., in the country. And also for those who we will be accepted in the country, there'll be a system of support. So what mitigations has the
For those
government,
who will, if any,
if any, thank you for that correction, if any, what mitigations the government has already put in place or planning to put in place to mitigate against accepting any of these individuals? And again, if we do accept any individual into the
well,
country.
those are the those are the very discussions we're having now.
How do
If we
you
agree,
verify? Sorry, I
well,
should rephrase
precisely the
it. How will you
verification
verify?
arrangements,
Yes, yes.
those are being dealt with by the relevant and competent authorities, immigration and the likes. So
Okay.
I won't go into details of those things at this stage, but I want to show you and the nation that all of the procedures required are being looked at in the event we come to a point where we accept third country nationals.
Okay. I'm asking you this question now. My flyer says, who speaks for Antigua and Barbuda? You're the Foreign Affairs Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. Sir Ron Saunders is the ambassador. Prime Minister Gaston Brown is the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. Can you explain the chair of command to us, especially in this negotiation
The chain of
of
command,
the
that
passports
is
and
that's a
yeah,
no-brainer, That's a no-brainer, Nikki. What I'll say, we have a good working team. But the question of who leads the chain of command is obvious. The prime minister is the prime minister. All ministerial offices belong to the prime minister under the constitution. He assigns people like me to oversee them from time to time and has the right to, reclaim them. But in a matter such as the ones we're discussing, in matters such as the ones we're discussing of TCN and the CBI program, the CBI programs across the region are managed by the prime ministers. I don't know if you knew that. In every one of our countries with a CBI program, the portfolio responsibility falls to the prime minister. If
okay.
we're talking about the visa issues, it's natural. So one cannot speak without the authority of the prime minister or foreign minister. The foreign minister would not speak unless he consults the prime minister. That is why, unlike other countries where you're seeing statements being recalled or having to be recalled, you never saw in a single instance where we had to recall a statement because it was, ultra-virus anything, or it ran against the grain of what the cabinet or the prime minister would be thinking. So again, I make a declaration for the satisfaction of the nation that this team of prime minister, head of government, myself, foreign minister, and Saran as our ambassador in Washington, is a working team. We consult on a daily basis. And when the issues are like they are now, the exchanges are fast and sometimes furious.
So what happens when there's negotiations or discussions and a decision to be made, and as the Affairs Minister, from your diplomatic position, and you think that this should be our next move, and you take that to Prime Minister Gaston Brown and Ron Sanders, what's your position if the Prime Minister does not agree?
The prime minister is the prime minister. I cannot trump the prime minister. If I have a thought on a matter and the prime minister thinks otherwise, I cannot use my thought on the matter to become the national position.
Does
The
this
prime
go
minister, the prime minister is head of government, and not only in foreign affairs, in all matters of
for all
government.
the matters?
All matters of government. The prime minister is the prime minister. The country has one prime minister.
So then you're going to lead me to ask another question. Because of your position as Foreign Affairs Minister, you're outside, you're maneuvering around You're the face of Antigua and Barbuda for the foreign affairs and for the passport of Antigua and Barbuda. The prime minister is the prime minister. There have been numerous situations, not only with the visa issue. We've had Alphanera. We've had numerous situations where the prime minister himself, the prime minister's family, all in different litigations and conversations. And as a diplomatic representative for Antigua and Barbuda, questions must have been raised regarding the Prime Minister, his decisions, how movements are being made within the government and the cabinet. How do you respond as the
Let's let's
minister?
get something here straight,
And how
Nikki.
do you one second? How do you respond as the diplomatic foreign affairs minister? And how do you respond in representing as that position in that position and the representation of the Antigua and Barbuda passport and the image of Antigua and Barbuda?
All right, first of all, let me correct you on the passport piece.
Of
The
course.
passport of Antigua Barbuda, that is the Prime Minister's portfolio, not the Foreign Minister.
Okay.
So let's get that. Yes, because of the office and what really is about foreign affairs all about. From time to time, I get called in and I will answer questions, but that's because I know, and I'm able to know because of the way government functions. The other thing I want to be very clear on for you and for your class and for persons following
Mhm.
is it's not just the prime minister, it's not just the foreign minister, it's not just Ron Saunders in Washington. There's a cabinet.
Okay.
So I answer to the prime minister. He's my boss. The hierarchical structure of government, the prime minister is the boss.
Hmm.
But there's also a cabinet where policy decisions are made. And that is why I can speak as foreign minister most times, apart from even consulting the prime minister, because they're cabinet positions, they're policy positions. And once you understand the policy, you can fashion any response as long as you don't deviate from policy. And so again, I made another boast when I made the statement that for the years I've been foreign minister, I've not misspoken one time. That's because I'm guided by the cabinet and the supervision or leadership of the prime minister. So if you see how the thread weaves into a beautiful fabric, you understand that Chet Green is not a loner. Prime Minister Brown himself is not a loner. Once you cloak yourself in the authority of the cabinet, or in my instance, or my case, the authority of the prime minister and the cabinet, I really don't see myself going wrong. Now, there are times when I have to rely on the prime minister's sole judgment as leader because a matter comes to the fore today between cabinet meetings. And so a decision has to be made. Who makes this decision? Naturally, in any workplace, is the boss who makes a decision in the absence of a board, correct?
Correct.
And it's no different. It's no different. But the prime minister is gung ho about the cabinet and how the cabinet functions in terms of policy formulation. And so even if a decision is made today, Monday, because the matter comes from left field,
Hmm.
by Wednesday, it is inked into a position in the cabinet, perhaps with variations from what we would say today, Monday. Not to mention that even in that period, we have a online chat, including all ministers, where this very matter that we're talking about hypothetically is presented and views are expressed. So by the time we get to cabinet on Wednesday, for the most part, we would have already fashioned a position on any matter. The cabinet
There's a,
is very united, very close knit, and the conversations are around the clock.
there's a question here from a sipper in the classroom. It says, so according to the minister, which would be yourself, so according to the minister, aid, the prime minister is the chief cook and bottle washer. Why are we paying 16 ministers to be head of the various arms of government?
I think you should put that student in the back of the class or bring her
You
right in
watch this
front of you.
live a lot, don't you?
No, I think you should no bring that student to front right under your nose because that student is not listening, not following. I spoke about the hierarchy of government and I gave scenarios. I spoke about the supremacy of the cabinet. So the prime minister is not chief cook and bottle washer. And we don't need to go into vernacular in these conversations, right? I said that in any workplace, and let me answer the sipper the very way that the question was posed. I made the point that in any workplace, the boss makes decision between board meetings. Why do you have workers, line workers, if the boss makes decisions? Why not just have the boss and the board? Again, let's be practical. Let's be real. Let's be real. You cannot tell me a Gaston Brown Prime Minister and think about it, you can't make a decision. If that's it, I don't want that job either. And you should not want it. Nobody should want it. The job title gives you certain authority. And the Prime Minister is sensible enough to cloak that authority in policy prescriptions by a cabinet. And again, that is why the government of Antigua and Barbuda works seamlessly, because the Prime Minister does not act in authoritarian fashion, as some people seem to suggest. I'm giving you a sneak now into how government works. It's not just Gaston Brown deciding, Gaston Brown doing. I told you about the chat we have, which buzzes almost 24 hours a day. It's about every issue of note, worth, value is brought into that space between cabinet meetings, rehashed at cabinet meetings, and codified at that stage.
Okay. I want us to wrap up our
I
discussion
want to
with
ask. I want to ask
okay.
class
You can go.
student the question
Uh,
again. I want that student get an A plus. So I want to make sure the student understands the answer.
you watch this live a lot, don't you? You're well into this classroom. But the government itself calls the CBI a critical pillar of non tax revenue, and we just discussed that. And it's saying that it cannot simply abandon the program without credible replacement revenue. So, how dependent is Antigua and Barbuda on this CIP? Can you give us a number?
I just told you
No, no, like
earlier.
give us a number when it comes to the
Percentage.
economy. Yes, give us a number.
Well,
Like how,
it is up there with tourism. Those are the two pillars of our economy. The two, real pillars of revenue. At the moment, we're seeing a significant um, contribution from the construction sector. But that we know will not last forever. After a while, that will taper off. And so CBI and tourism continue to be the main drivers.
and if CIP disappeared tomorrow, what would the government have to tax, cut,
I
or
just
replace? If it be a
I
different.
just told you, I just told Nikki, when the Prime Minister said we are sharp government, astute government, nimble government, I told you a couple of things. I told you, one, we'll not just walk from CBI without discussions. Your student may say without a fight, but we're not fighting. We will continue to engage to see if we can save the day. But whilst we're doing that, we're also working on other situations, because we do understand, do appreciate that if we're to lose in 2 years' time the CBI revenues, we'd have to find another non-tax regime.
That's why
Because
I want to.
no, but I told you earlier I would not go into details. I did tell you that I would not go into details of those discussions that are taking place. But I want to give assurances that we
Okay.
are already looking at non-tax arrangements or alternative arrangements to supplement the loss of CIP should we lose it.
So ordinary citizens effectively are being caught between two things: the government's dependency on the CIP revenue and foreign governments calling for a cease and desist or to a
That's a
complete.
that's a that's a that's a strange way of characterizing. But I would say that the citizen, not only ordinary citizens, citizens of Antigua and Barbuda, and I don't know you have more than anything with ordinary citizens. Anybody who wants to be extraordinary, I don't think you're really being a part of this thing fairly. Citizens of this country are at the moment caught in this space where, on the one hand, the EU has asked us to collapse our CBI program by what, 1st of June 2028.
Mhm.
The US government and its indecisive posture with respect to visas and the extension of visas to our citizens. And so we're in that space of wait and see. But it's not just simply wait and see, because whilst we are waiting, a couple of things are happening.
Mhm.
We are negotiating. And on the question of the CBI, we are actively looking for other revenue streams to fill the void should it come to that.
Okay. In our classroom, we like to give specific points to our students. Some might have just joined, so I'm just going to ask you some questions. It's not going to be repetitive to some extent, but for you to give a wholesome answer to each one. What exactly remains outstanding with Washington, if you can summarize for us?
What remains outstanding in Washington is a response to our last letter.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. What?
Look, if we're to introduce new dimensions, the letter remains outstanding. If you and I have a conversation and we leave this conversation with me having asked you a question, then we continue the conversation when you answer the question. So the US has asked us to consider TCN residents in a particular initiative. We have written back to them with our concerns or recommendations as to how we can look at that invitation to be part of the program. We await the response.
Okay.
On the European Union and the CBI program, we have asked for a meeting with the European Union. I think it is scheduled. I mean, I don't want to say that I have a date, but I think I saw some way to schedule. And so we wait that decision. In the meantime, the leaders of of the Eastern Caribbean, the CBI programs, are themselves involved in discussions, planning for that meeting. At the local level, heads already been put to work to look at fashioning alternative arrangements, should it come to that, for replacement programs with the CBI.
Okay. So I trust that we've covered everything for the classroom. If there's any questions on that, you can send the questions or send it afterwards. EP chat, I don't know if you have a sip. You're supposed to be having something to sip on. Don't you have like
Yes,
a
yes, I have what
sip
Oasis
on?
water for my
Okay,
throat. It's getting dry.
take a sip because you just took off your Minister of Foreign Affairs hat, and I'd like you to put on your ABLP Chairman MP hat for us to have this discussion.
Okay.
And I'd like you to talk to my classroom about your constituency, St. Paul's. Um, I'm seeing some comments here, so I'm gonna make sure I go back to them in a minute. But what sets you apart from your other ministers, from the
I
other?
would not know that. Maybe I'm more handsome. No, on a serious
Come
note,
on, serious.
we don't compete like that. We complement each other. So that's setting me apart. If you ask me about St. Paul's and what we do in St. Paul's, I'll tell you that we have a number of programs that I feel justly proud of. That for me, I was born in that space. I was born in Liberta, and so I'm not a MP by invitation. I am a born and bred Libertian, and so I identify very easily, very readily with what happens there. Our senior citizens are my heartstring, and so you'll find me very often in that space, ensuring their comfort. You know, our children are also. So I'm at two ends of the spectrum: seniors and the children. Just this past Thursday, we had the back to school fair where we catered to all the schools in the community. The three primary schools in the community: Cops Cross, Liberta, and New Bethel. New Bethel is owned by the Adventist Church, and all the students there were given or gifted back to school supplies. A few weeks before that, on the 31st of July, we had the senior citizens excursion, summer excursion. It's an annual event where we take the seniors around the country to see things that they don't ordinarily see. The people who are not mobile and they see things maybe from behind the television screen or hear them on the news, but they get a chance to see firsthand. So we went, for example, to this new hotel inside Fry's Beach. Um, they would have heard about Dennis, and so they had a chance to go to both the hotel um, and Dennis, where they're treated like royalty. Let me commend both Dennis and the management of that hotel. It's called what's the name of the hotel? I'm getting old. I'm forgetting things. But they were treated like royal. They had their cold towels or hot towels and their drinks and their snacks.
Mhm.
Then we took them up to Barnacle Point to show them the largest water plant in the country, and a new marina is being created in that space. Then we went we passed through town to see the Hammond Brothers Carnival because it was still carnival season. Then down to Runaway where we had a spread, some cultural performances, Claudette Peters, three calypsonians from our community, Dr. Paul, Spider-Man, and the Rover. Um, we were hoping to sing for the St. Paul's Crown, but they all decided not to compete. Again, the kind of thing we encourage. Not about competition, we're complimenting efforts. building community is not about competition only. And so the seniors had a good day. They look forward to the next outing, which is going to be Christmas, the big extravaganza, when they put on the dandan and dress up, paint up, and come out. We also have before that we have the health month, which is October. This year we're looking at numbers, controlling health. So we have those kinds of programs in St. Paul's that keep me involved, in touch, and in tune with the people. We have a new project about to be open soon, just waiting for some electrical work to be done. A toilet paper factory, toilet tissue factory coming to St. Paul's, and a school of beauty. So again, St. Paul is kept going. We have had discussions with the Venezuelan embassy and the Cuban embassy about Spanish classes, with the Chinese embassy, Mandarin classes. So a number of things are set to happen as we roll out the year. Earlier
With
this year,
every, go ahead. Sorry.
earlier this year we gave um, complimentary space to the post office in All Saints. They're repairing the post office. They wanted somewhere to serve the community, and so we gave them space in the empowerment center. Should have been for 3 months. They've gone past 8 months now, so we are looking for them to move out so we can get our own programs going. Uh, it's just a lot of things happening. We will be sponsoring once again the short courses at UE, Five Islands, and the other UE um, Global Center.
Mhm.
Every year we do these programs, trying to improve, the quality of life, because that's what it does with education or people. So quality of life is not only about Mount St. John and healthcare, it's about the level of education and your ability to contribute to your own personal upkeep and society. Uh, the government would have not started, but expanded the road program in St. Paul's. There's a problem with material and toll aggregates. And so just last week, I was assured by the director of works that work will resume in a week or two. We have some work that remains unfinished from the election cycle. So we're looking forward to those. St. Paul's is a beautiful place to be, um, the most beautiful place in Antigua. We're getting ready to host elements of Chogam in the Nelson Dockyard. Uh, I invite you. Come live in St. Paul's.
The reason why I asked everything that you mentioned, I do my investigation. I read everything. I see that you have a weekly editorial that comes out. It speaks a lot about the work that you do. There are individuals also that have sent their feedback, saying that you're engaged in the community. There's a friend here that I have in the UK, and when I mentioned to her that I have an interview with you, she says, "Oh, he's a good man. He does this, he does that, he does that." So when I ask that what sets you apart, it is evident that you are set apart from your involvement within your community
Well, I'm set
and the
apart
things
by the distance, the
set
physical
apart.
distance.
Sorry.
I'm set apart by the physical distance between Willikers and Liberta, English Harbour, between Grace Farm and Liberta, English Harbour, between
I know
Pointville and
you're
English
giving me a
Harbour.
little diplomatic answer right now. So don't give me one of those. But I'm saying individuals recognize you as an MP within the constituency and your presence there, your presence with the seniors, your presence with the young people, the work that you're doing there, and that's something to be commendable for. And when I ask what sets you apart, it is evident because if you're among other ministers in the cabinet, we're supposed to be rubbing off of each other. And when I ask you that question, there's about two or three individuals in the chat in our classroom that mentioned that they've not seen their minister since the election. So it is an
Might
evident
might be tired. Maybe they campaigned harder than I did, so they're tired. But no, all our ministers, I must assure you, are in their constituencies. And this is one thing about politics. Don't see somebody for 1 month, 1 week, and they quickly declare they don't see you. It's a little land. People said the same about me. I mean, I can't humanly say all the people in St. Paul's in any 1 week, 1 month period. There's some people who see me more often than others. There's some people who just don't want to see you after elections. Let's face it. Some people just don't care about what happens after the election. They follow you, they track you, they're satisfied, they go and vote for you, continue to work. They're not coming to disturb you. When you see some constituents come to you and hey, there's a problem because they don't get involved. There's some who are saying, say, I'm praying for you, or I'm following you, keep on doing the good work. Someone say, long to see you. So it's a mixed bag of reactions you get in this job called politics. But I can assure your listeners, your classroom, that the ministers of government have all been encouraged to be in the constituency. As a matter of fact, we took a position since the last election cycle that we'll all have quarterly town hall meetings. We did so, seeing or reading the tea leaves before election that we were going to have a significant majority in the House. Um, as we realize, it's literally, a zip. And so, how do we manage the democracy? How do we govern? We decided that we'd be very, very direct with our constituents. And so each minister, each elected member, rather, because all are not ministers, are encouraged to go into the constituency on a quarterly basis and have town hall meetings. Each one is also encouraged to have a physical presence in the community by way of an office, so that they can schedule office days, constituency office days, where their constituents can come in to see them. Each is also encouraged to publicize his or her telephone number, because the numbers that they carry are not their personal numbers. They're paid for by the people. The same people who you went to get votes from must have a way to get to you when they want to get to you, if they want to get to you.
Facts.
So that maybe that is part of the style that I have cultivated, that I can, um, credit for my success so far, that I am engaged and engaging. My number 779-2438 or 779-CHET, if you want to make it easier. It's a public number. It's my private number, mark you, because I had before I went to the government. So when I leave government, I'll ask Flo to just take off the government account off it and give up my number. But again, I think politicians need to make themselves available to the people at all times. There's so much
My,
that so much benefit from this.
my classroom is serious. Somebody says that's BS, Minister Green. People want to see you but can't.
If you want to see me, well, again, let me maybe put my position again for that person who think that I'm BSing, and that might be one of thousands, one of few rather. Um, if you're from St. Paul's, my home is an open door arrangement. If you're from St. Paul's, if you're not from St. Paul's, I can't quite promise you that you can walk into my home like that. Because St. Paul's people come and they go to the kitchen and they do what they want. Maybe not the same. My wife is back home now, so it's not as free as it used to be, With the lady in the house, you can't quite do what you do when I'm home alone. When I'm home alone, you come and you make your own tea, because I'm not making that for you. Make your own tea and you treat yourself. But my home is open to all my constituents. My telephone number, which I just made public again for those persons who may not have done it, is a publicly repeated number, 779-CHET. And so the person who thinks it's BS, you can try the number and you'll see. I go to my office at least twice a week in Liberta. There are times when I promise to go at a particular hour, but the nature of the job sometimes doesn't allow me to keep the schedule that I prefer. But I am in Liberta almost daily. My mother is there, 90 years old, and so that's a must place to be, right? As much as I can spend time with my mother, I do that. I'm on the corner on weekends, especially if I'm in the corner, the guy is hanging, and in the office Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. I do radio program once on island on Tuesday evenings from 8 to 10. So I don't know why that person can't find me. And I tend to return calls when I can't take them. For example, a person that called me right now on this feed with you, this line with you. I can't take the calls, but for as much as I can, I return calls or messages when I get off.
There's a couple of people here. Well, the individual who said it, she responded. She said, well, Mr. Green, you're different. And there are other individuals who are saying, speak for yourself because other ministers are not doing what you're doing. So that's the classroom comments. I have a question here. What would somebody who dislikes Chet Green be right about?
Not liking me. I mean, that's a personal choice. If you don't like me, don't like me. I look, put it this way. I don't seek validation. I do what I have to do. I try not to offend the people. I take my oath of service very seriously. Um, if you're St. Paul's, even when you're wrong, my job is to seek mercy. And when you're right, you're double right in my eyes. Um, in the discharge of my daily functions and duties, I do not see color. I see color when the Prime Minister knocks the gong and says time for elections. But in the interregnum, It's about service to all the people of this country.
One of the questions I have here, we didn't get a chance to touch much on regional and global foreign policy because you recently laid out a 6-point border secure proposal at CARICOM, and it's connecting free movement with stronger regional border governance. So I wanted to just shift back to that quickly, and we'll get back to you with the hat on. But can Caribbean free movement survive if Caribbean governments increasingly see migration through a security lens?
Well, I think, whether we like it or not, the moment in which we find ourselves is forcing us to integrate further. Um, I hope that the embrace of integration is now on everybody's agenda, top of everybody's agenda, because it's clear that the United States is taking on a different posture to what we've all become accustomed. It is clear that the EU, with all its visa restrictions, and even the UK, is now tightening its border controls. And I remind us again, border controls is a sovereign decision made by sovereign states. Nothing you can do about it. So if the the UK tomorrow decides that Antiguans need to get visas to come to the UK, you can mope and groan at the Thy Kingdom come, right? That's the decision. Yes, just like the TCN, just like the CBI, we will engage from foreign affairs to find, softer landings and better ways and, you know, structural systems. But it is ultimately a sovereign decision that we have no control over.
Okay. And how does a country of fewer than 1,000 people avoid becoming dependent on whichever major power is offering us the biggest check?
Out of the country of less than a thousand, 100,000.
100,000. We're about
And the
100,000,
yeah, and well, we're doing census now. Let me invite and encourage your class members
of course.
to participate in the census. It's a very important tool for development. You see, we talk of, for example, the CBI and losing the receipts by 2028. We talk of the hardening and tightening of U.S. Visa support or visa possibilities. Those have implications on the ground.
Mhm.
It means that if 10 persons per year were to migrate to the United States, those 10 are now staying home. If we
Yeah.
lose the receipts from CBI, it is millions per year that we will lose, which means that we have to find ways to not only cater to the population, but to a population that is growing by virtue of persons having less opportunities to go to the States.
Mhm.
So the census activity, that we're now undertaking is so quintessential to our development, and especially this time with all of these geopolitical forces working at the same time in directions opposite to our interests. But there's no check to receive with respect to independence. You don't negotiate your independence. You don't tinker with it, which is why we said to the United States that, just like you have the right to manage your borders, we have that right as well. Those are sovereign rights.
Mhm.
And we're small, but we will always maintain a premium on our sovereignty. The day you tinker with your sovereignty, and the day I find that this government tinkers with sovereignty, I'm gone.
You holding on to those words you just said?
The day that this government, I can say so because I know it will not happen. And I say so to encourage Antigua and the Barbudans to not ever allow any government of this country to tinker with our sovereignty. Not to tinker with our sovereignty. We must defend our sovereignty, every man, woman, boy, and girl.
I see that there is Tika. Tika's in the classroom, and Tika wants to get a message to you because she says, Nikki, read my message. She says, Honorable Chet Green, a message. I messaged you about 4 weeks
But we
ago.
still go to this more advertising.
And
Have a
have a
base in
base in
Boston.
Boston as there's New York, and I didn't receive a reply. You getting called
Okay.
out this morning, huh?
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, I'm glad that whoever Nikki say it is,
Tika,
Tika.
yes.
Well, I don't recall see that message, Tika. If you can send a message back to my WhatsApp number, Same number I mentioned, 779-CHET, or my email, epchet@gmail.com. I'll endeavor to have it responded to. Because the way it's offered there, I don't quite understand the message.
Of course. She's saying, she's basically trying to say that she wants to advertise Antigua's Carnival in Boston, and she's trying to get some assistance or guidance
Okay,
on it.
if you want to test carnival, let me give you the. I don't have to answer that one, Tika. Privately, I can give you the details of the carnival personnel.
Maybe she
Lisa
wants you
McCool.
directly, Honorable Chet. Maybe it's you she wants
You see,
directly to handle it.
and I appreciate that she may want me directly because I may have a good strike rate of responding and doing things.
What just happened? We're about to. Honorable Chet, are you there? What? Did he just touch his phone? What just happened, class? What just happened? Honorable Chet, what just happened? Tika, I asked a question and EP Chet went to his phone and boom. Is that blackout? Is anybody from St. Paul's? Where are you guys? What happened there? What happened? Tika asked you a question and boom. Tika, what you do? Tika, what you make happen? Look what Tika make happen. Tika, what just happened? Class, what just happened? Honorable EP just pick up his phone. Is there blackout in St. Paul's? Is anybody living in St. Paul's? Y'all can tell me what's going on in St. Paul's. Eh? Somebody tell me what's going on in St. Paul's. Quick, quick, quick. Who is this Ali? Ali, we're gonna block you. We don't know who you are, dude. Who are you? Who are you? We're gonna block Ali. We just block Ali. Ali can. Ew, your mouth is filthy. Honorable EP, what happened? What happened? Hello? You're on the phone, you gotta come back into the chat room. Okay, so let me send you out and you come right back in. That conversation too sweet to just finish like that. You know, I was about to get to the next sweet part and electricity went off. Just like that, like bloop. You take off the light. You talking too nice. This thing too nice and sweet, eh? What? What? Look at Ali. Ali's mouth is so filthy. I blocked Ali. Is current off in Antigua? I don't think so because I just spoke to Honorable EP. Hey, James said, Tika, please leave the class. Tika, I read Tika's question and Honorable EP picked up his phone to go and do something to respond in somewhere and then boom, the whole thing gone off the thing. The thing gone off the thing. Okay? Class, I trust that you being informed in this discussion. I saw a comment here that I wanted to respond to earlier. Ika, is it Ika? Where's my girl? Ika, am I saying the name correctly? Come on, come on. There's a lot of comments. I see you in the classroom. Welcome to the SIP every Monday and Wednesday. We are live here, and this is what we do. We raise the level of the discussion, and we come into the classroom and we speak. Look at Ika's comment. Ika says Nikki is probably playing it safe so that other officials will feel safe enough to come on the show. This is not playing it safe. We're having a discussion, and I don't think I need to be a EP Chet is back. I don't need to do that when he's present. If you know what they want, maybe they're asking why I never said Chet. What happened, Chet? Why you never, and why you never, and why you never? Maybe that's what they're expecting. But this is not the level for that discussion here. Yes?
Nikki, if I may, I lost you momentarily, or you lost me.
Go
I don't
ahead.
know how. Somebody lost somebody.
Somebody put
It's
blackout
either
on
Jonas
your
followed the
end.
whale or the whales followed Jonas. Some swallowing took place.
I was still live. Somebody put blackout on your end. One
All
time.
right.
Go ahead.
But I just came back a time where I hear you talking to one of your class, one of your students, about the quality of the conversation.
Yes.
We need more of this.
Thank you.
Respectfully, I say to our people, we need more of this. Let us
Aw.
look at where we are in the world today. Look at the kind of things we're facing. Those challenges are best overcome.
Hello. We need more of this. Who's going to take it away now? What's going on? What's going on? I was to block Claire Hurst. I didn't even remember to block Claire Hurst. I just looked up and saw Ali's filthy mouth. Somebody named Ali Khan. So I just had to block him. I don't know who that is. Kind of rude guy. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. What's going on? Oh, something happened to EP Chet Green's connection. But we're about to have to wrap this thing. I have to wrap this thing. I have these other questions here. They're right here. Remember, we asked the question and the EP answers. Come on, man. What's going on? What's going on? What are you doing to chat? Chat, what are you doing to your internet? Come on. We're having a good discussion here. Come on. Come on. He's back. So I could tell me what I'm not asking, honey, and I'll ask because Honorable EP is right here in the chat. If
Yeah,
there's a
for all
question,
questions. I'm here for all questions, and I don't know
yeah.
what are the hard questions.
If there's
Can
any
can
question,
can can that person send a hard question to you so you can ask it?
yes, please. Anybody, any question you have, and I didn't ask, and this is
Wait.
the
I mean,
opportunity.
it would be a hard question if you ask me when my father met my mother because they never told me that.
They never told you?
No,
Not
where they
even.
met, they never told me.
You
So that's a
never.
very hard. That's a very hard question.
You better stop playing, because I'm about to ask you another question. I want to take the
Well,
discussion to Chet the man. I spoke to Chet, Foreign Affairs Minister. We're talking about every other aspect. So I want to talk about Chet the man. What gets neglected by Chet? I mean, you're the Foreign Affairs Minister, you're the chairman of the ABFP party. You have constituents who need drains, roads, assistance, representation. What gets neglected by you?
I try to approach life with some balance, and so all the matters you mentioned a while ago, on a daily basis, get some attention. And of course, the one thing that you left out, which is so important to me, quintessential, is my mother.
I was coming to that. I have it written down right there. I see how you take care of your mommy.
Yeah, that's one that matters most. I'll be
And you're
honest.
smiling too. Oh,
Most,
I want my sons to be like that for me when I get older.
well, be a good mom. That's all I'll say. Be a good
I'm
mom.
a good mom.
Okay,
You're
well,
a son. Go ahead. Talk about your mommy.
no, that's the queen. I hope my wife and children don't feel jealous. Well, they will not. They know what the deal is. My mother, six of us, very humble life, humble upbringing. And as I grow older, I can better see and value the sacrifices. For example, when I was a child growing up, my mother cooked rice porridge every Thursday. And I thought it was just cooking rice porridge because it was cool to do. I don't understand poverty was the source, the cause for that.
Yeah.
Couldn't buy chicken 7 days a week or fish. I grew up in a house when one fish had to share for two persons. And
Mm-hmm.
so that alone tell you could not buy fish every day. Rice porridge is a very simple meal. Some rice, milk, water,
Make a sugar.
and some sugar, cinnamon sticks, and cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a meal. After a while, my brother, Saeed, and my sisters didn't quite have the same feel for it. And so less and less they had it, and I had more. And so that created a love for rice porridge, which today is still, very much present and makes it the number one food in my food list.
Mm.
But mommy was a day person, taught me how to iron, how to wash, how to cook. I still enjoy ironing. Of all the house chores, I will iron for a day. Give me some music, I'll do that. You know,
I don't like
yeah.
iron.
Well, no, I do enjoy ironing. Um, she really was a good mother. Taught me
She
how to
is.
play
She
stone. How,
is.
how to play
She's here.
stone.
She is a good mother. She's still here.
Okay, she is a good mother. I was
Yeah.
saying was in the context of her
Mm-hmm.
being in her earlier years and was active and she played with us
Mm-hmm.
cricket. Never played football. In fact, she hated me playing football. It's the only thing I think my mother didn't like me doing, play football. But everything else I did, I had full support of my mother. Not that my father didn't support me, but my mother's support and love and everything was a little different. And so I can't see myself without her. I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for what is, an eventual real life scenario.
Yes.
Not that I can't go first. And sometimes I pray that I would, so that I wouldn't have to live that moment of her passing. But at 90, she is still having more good days than bad ones. There's sometimes when she's, not quite as collective. But there are days when
Hmm.
nothing you say she doesn't match you. Witty. I think I got my wit from my mother.
That's good.
So I just give thanks to God for her life and service and training.
And
I
we
am
thank
who I am.
her. And even on this platform, everyone in the platform is very pleased. And a man who takes care of his mother is an honorable man.
Well, I thank
Don't know
those. I
anything
thank
behind
those
the
sentiments.
scenes
I,
of
I
the life
thank those
of a
sentiments.
man. I don't know the depths of you and everything about you, but a man who cares for his mother is a man to be respected at all times. That is important. Remembering, understanding the struggles, because it's not easy. It's not easy to be a single mother. It's not even to be a mother. It's not even easy to be a woman in this time, and especially in Antigua back then. So your mother did a phenomenal job, and we want to send her all the prayers and the blessings that we can. And may the people of St. Paul's do even more than you expect in helping you to give your mother the best that she can in her elderly years.
Nikki,
Get
the
that from the sippers.
acts of sharing that I think I perfect really were from my mother.
Hmm.
We lived in a one-bedroom house. That was the formal years of our, before my father was able to do some expansion when I was in secondary school. And notwithstanding our states, every child who passed by, maybe would deliberately pass by because they knew that something was going to happen from that little galvanized kitchen that we had.
Hmm.
A fried dumpling, a pancake, a piece of potato, pump, something. My mother's always, always sharing. And so for those of us who see me sharing, don't think that it's just something that I cultivated over, or being in politics. It's something that was instilled. I watched it.
Hmm.
Always, always be prepared to share with others. Never know what people's conditions are, right? And don't think that you're too poor to share what you have.
Yes.
Because little is much when God is in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Itema sent her question. Aika in the classroom sent her question. She said, due diligence. What does that look like? What
On
determines
what?
if someone qualifies for the CIP?
There's a process. There's a process managed by a very knowledgeable, responsible, respectable, professional Antiguan, Charmaine Donovan, Quinlan Donovan, or yeah, then Quinlan the first name. And I have every confidence that Charmaine continues to look over the nation's best interest. If you look back over the history of the CIP program, you will find one or two persons that came through that were questionable.
Hmm.
But when you go through the entire file, you realize that at the point of being granted citizenship, there were no questions. Let's take Chucksy, for example. The
I was going.
backbone checks were done in Chucksy. Chucksy came through clean. It was after that Indian government conducted the interviews and found that there are things, questionable with Chucksy. And then they took the decision to go after him legally. But up to the time when he was granted citizenship to Barbuda, there were no questions anywhere that anyone would have asked, and that gotten good answers to.
So
There's a
was,
network, apart from Shemaine,
just a question there. Was it that our due diligence was not as strong enough, or is it that he was able to hide his information and
I
he
guess he
did?
was able to hide, right? And you see, that's why we have to trust the people who are doing this thing because they have information that we don't have ordinarily. There's a network. I was about to make that point. There's a network of due diligence providers and services that we turn to. There's a regional one. We turn to the Americans, the Brits, the Canadians. So a global network. It's not just somewhere in St. John's we say, I like how he walks or how she looks. It's going behind, peeling back the layers of your criminal history, your business history. And the law is very clear. If you misrepresent any fact, that's it. Any misrepresentation, you're denied the application is denied.
But there have been multiple individuals who've passed through, not only Chucksy. I'm even seeing in our classroom somebody's mentioning Sissy Lou, and there have been a Nigerian couple that had to be returned. There are
Again,
quite a couple of them.
but let's face it, if persons are able to beat that network of due diligence background checks, then you get through. But there's so few. In the context of the CIB program that started back in 2012, in the context of the program started 2013, you talk about what? Um,
11 years, 10, no,
13 years ago.
13, yeah.
13 years ago. If a program that started 13 years ago would have had a handful of persons passing through that became questionable, then hey, you can still call a program a success. I'm being very, very honest and fair in this one.
I hope
After
you were honest
30,
and fair in all the others. You said this one.
after 30, no, I mean brutally honest in this.
I know you.
Because after 13 years, then you can find a handful of people passing through the CIP program with questions, given the thousands that pass through. And don't forget, the ones we hear about are the ones who are issued passports. You don't hear about the numbers that are declined
Yes, and
because
that's a
they just don't make the cut.
and that's a
So
question.
I must give credit to Shemaine and the team.
Mhm.
I must give credit to those persons responsible for the due diligence aspect of the program. I think they've done this country justice because our passport continues, like I said, to be a strong passport. Right, number two, number three in the Caribbean, me ding dong between those two numbers.
So we were talking when I was asking you about what gets neglected by Chet, and you spoke so lovely of your mom and everything else that you have accomplished, and because of her rearing. My next question is going to be: do you want to be prime minister?
I will serve as prime minister if the opportunity arises, but do not look for Chet Green to make raucous in the Labour Party to become prime minister. You don't build organizations like that. You don't develop countries like that because undermining begets undermining.
Explain more and talk to our people, because everybody wants to listen and hear from you.
I think over time I would have demonstrated my ability, but Antigua Barbuda is a prime minister. We have not heard the prime minister indicate that he's leaving, and so the conversation of wanting to be prime minister is not even a conversation I wish to entertain. If
Okay.
the prime minister says he's leaving, then we can talk about that. But to the extent the prime minister is serving well, has not indicated any date of departure or intention to depart, it's not a conversation I'll engage in. I'm
What kind?
pleased. I'm pleased to be a minister under Prime Minister Gaston Brown.
Thank you for that. What kind of person should lead Antigua and Barbuda after Prime Minister Gaston Brown?
What kind of person?
Yes.
Someone who has vision like Gaston Brown. Someone who is fearless. Someone who loves the people. Someone who understands the global nature of the job. It's not just managing St. John's. It is connecting St. John's to all these other major global centers to make it work for St. John's. So we're positioning Antigua Barbuda as a member of the international community to be respected and where benefits flow therefrom. In that
Okay.
regard, I can say we are punching above our weight. We are sought after in terms of the level of services and conversations, negotiations, you name it. Antigua Barbuda is, let me use the vernacular, out there, up there and out there.
Our classroom has another question. Wasn't the Chinese lady flagged and she herself told them that she has issues and they still went through with her application?
I don't know that to be so. If you have information to that extent, Ika Wilcher, as the name of the writer,
Ica, yes.
yeah, please provide it, but I don't know of anyone who would have told the unit that they have issues and still be granted. It doesn't wash.
Another person in the classroom is adding to that too because they're responding and saying, but Sissy Lou told them she would be flagged up during due diligence and they still issued her an Antiguan passport. She was stopped in Canada. So they're asking if you forgot about that.
Well, again, I'm saying that this is what came out in the political wash, but there's no way that you can go and make that assertion and prove it to be so.
Okay. With yourself being the chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, I know that we spoke a bit about being the chairman, but I didn't get to go to this one question that I want us to go into, or this one part of the discussion. You are the founder of WTP Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been an incident that happened a couple of months ago where you've made a negotiation with Darren Matthew Ward, my fellow journalist colleague, to be present and to bring my kind of perspective, straight up, straight down the middle, asking questions, open ended platform. He came on the platform, he did an interview surrounding the Bronco scandal. He did an interview with a woman in Grenada, another journalist in Grenada, and then Prime Minister Gaston Brown was very obvious in his comments, and he made certain statements. I don't want to lengthen the time in playing that actual clip, but he made reference to yourself as the chairman of the party, and also insinuating that you are encouraging people on your platform to break the party down and also to discredit the government. A couple of weeks after, maybe days after, Darren Matthew Ward was no longer on WTP Radio. What happened then, and why did you take that position to not have Darren continue?
But not to be in the radio.
Well, tell us now if
No,
you did.
if you're no no you're counting the file
The
that you
letter
seem to
came
have.
out. The letter came out from Darren that he's no longer with
All right,
WTP Radio.
thank you.
So explain what
You
happened
see,
and
you see,
what.
how it's very important that we put things in proper perspective,
But
because
then we're
someone
going
hearing us
there.
now, Nikki, someone hearing us now would think that I fired Darren Matthew Ward because of that incident.
But
No,
yeah,
you're telling on your own voice, you're telling the classroom and the world that
yes,
Darren Matthew Ward removed himself voluntarily from WTP.
Darren. I didn't say that either. I said Darren Matthew Ward put out a letter. I don't know how he come to write the letter, and the letter did come into.
Darren, come on,
I'm
let's
asking
not let's not
you.
speculate. Darren a big man, okay?
Yes,
You can't force Darren to resign. You know that. Just like you, I can't force to come to WTP. If I could force you, you'd be there already. Because I invited you to come. Right? So just like you can't force to come, you can't force Darren Matthew Ward out if he doesn't want to leave. Darren Matthew Ward felt at the time that, hey, it was in his own interest, best interest, to leave WTP and not get embroiled in any contretemps. I respect his decision as an individual. And let's strip through the layers of the comment you made a while ago.
yes.
I'm chairman of the Labour Party, and therefore I have an obligation to uphold the interests of the party.
Hmm.
And news, and tell me if you agree with the statement, news is all about interest.
Hmm.
If you listen to a news item on BBC, you hear a British perspective. If you hear the same news item on CNN or on the US network, you hear a US perspective. And we tend to accept those because those are large countries.
Hmm.
That's what the psychology is. But if in a smaller space called Antigua, we have a news put out by Observer, one put out by WPTP, one put out by Point, one put out by ZDK, we have problem with the one that is not politically aligned to us. I want this, you know, let's get real. Okay? Darren Matwell felt at the time that his services were not best aligned to WTP because WTP is aligned to the Labour Party. I can't be half pregnant. I know if you can.
No, I can't.
Exactly. And I don't think anybody can be. And so news about interests. I'm not going to knowingly facilitate news items on my radio station that are hurtful to me and my interests. I'm not suppressing news. I'm not going to say it should not be heard anywhere. I'm saying where I have the control through an investment that I made privately, I am not going to willfully, knowingly, deliberately, wantonly, and you can go on and on,
Hmm.
engage in items, news items, and stories that do not protect my interest. Is that a fair position? As a practitioner of journalism, is that a fair position?
No, from my perspective, it seems that you are intimidated because when I listen to what, and I'm telling, when I'm listening to what you intended to do in bringing Darren Matthew Ward, it would have drawn individuals who are not ABLP supporters, and it would have been able to bring the discussion in like what we're having now, because this
And
is the
that's
kind
still
of
that is
discussion.
still my position.
But so then,
That's still my
uh,
position.
So then, wasn't there anything that you could have done to ensure that you hold that relationship with Darren Matthew Ward
Well,
on
I
your
just told
platform?
you. Is there anything I can do to bring it to WTP? I've been trying.
No, no,
Tell your
no.
classroom I've been trying.
I'm good. I'm good. Class, he even said, "Oh, I can come to." No, I'm good. I'm good. We
And the
good.
point of
Good.
making Darren decide to leave, and he left. There could be somewhere down the road because, again, I don't close doors. I do not close doors, I repeat, that Darren and I could find a way of working together on either media or some other project. But at the time, Darren didn't want to have himself or myself exposed to the political chatter that was coming out of that particular situation.
But you made a statement about news and being able and playing news that would potentially hurt you or
News is all about interests.
I don't think news is supposed to be all about interest. News is supposed to be about facts and information. And news is not supposed
It's
to be
all about
by
it. I guess what I'm not. I mean, let's just say this. I'm
Mhm.
not saying I'm changing the facts. Not altering the facts. It's about interest. In
But
other
you're
words,
not reporting it.
the news I carry
It's in your interest.
has to have some bearing on my interests. All
So
all media outlets do that.
no, I wouldn't agree with that. I
Okay,
would not because news is news. News we
it's
don't change.
news.
No,
So
no, no. In a
I'm
sense,
not stopping the news, Nikki. I'm not stopping the news. It's about my interest in the news. Why
I
would I
would
carry a story? Why would I carry a story in Russia this morning? It's about interest. Why would I carry a story on what? On something, anything else than what I carried on? It's about interest. Why would you bring me onto your platform this morning? It's about interest.
it is about interest, and it's also I didn't not bring you because you're the ABLP. I brought you
Exactly.
because you're the man to answer the
So guess
question.
what? You will say the same thing. I'm not saying I'm bringing news because ABLP. I'm not saying I'm bringing news because it's UPP. I'm saying
That's your interest.
I'm bringing you because of interest.
Yeah, you said interest, but then it
So
would
you may
be
not
your
find
interest or
you may
the
not
ones
find
that
a
you.
story that you find an observer on my platform, not because it's not a story, not because it's not factual, but it's not interested to me of interest to me at that time.
So
News
then
is all about interest.
news is all
It's a
about.
101 in journalism.
So then the ABLP or the WTP aligned with the ABLP party. Your news is just going to be about the positive image
I
and
never
interest of the ABLP.
I never say only. News is about interest. Do not stretch that statement. News is about
Ike
interest.
says, I got to agree with him on this one, Nikki. So she agree with you, so we can agree
All
to
right. See,
disagree and then
I tell you,
agree.
if I talk long enough, if I talk long enough, I make friends.
Class, if I haven't asked anything, we're really over our time, and there's so much more we can talk about. There's 12 past the hour of 2 p.m. here in the UK, my time. I know that the Honorable EP, his time is far spent, but I want him to cover anything he didn't get a chance to address since we've been talking just before we
Well, I'm
wrap.
still waiting for difficult questions, Nikki.
So
I
I'm
don't
about to
want to
ask
leave
the
here
class.
without the difficult questions
I'm asking the class if you have
because I
any
don't
questions.
want anybody to say I came here and was pampered by you and did not
Yes.
answer any question or questions asked. Or for
And
a person to say,
said,
"Oh, ouch, I should have asked him so and so."
somebody said that you're giving me a diplomatic answer about that prime minister question. When I ask you, do you want to be prime minister? They said you're just being diplomatic,
And then
which which I
no.
should expect to some
Can I
extent.
can I repeat my answer? And you can
Not
strip it.
in a diplomatic way.
You
Talk
can
from the heart.
strip it down from the
Strip
heart.
it down. Give me from the heart.
Antigua and Barbuda has a prime minister who I deem to be a good prime minister. I serve under him as foreign minister. I've served in other ministry portfolios. He has not indicated that he's limiting office. And so for me, the question of me wanting to be prime minister is not a conversation I'd engage in. If you ask me if I think I have the skill set to be prime minister, I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But to ask me if I want to be prime minister, it is fermenting discord within
Mm-hmm.
the organization. That's not my job. I'm
Yes.
a pacifist. I'm a unifier. Why do you think I bring so many people and UPP into the Labour Party? Because
Um,
I bring skill sets to the organization, and I believe that people should come together, like-minded people come together to do the work of building the country. And so, how can I be bringing people to join the Labour Party, but at the same time, I accept
what is going on? Like what? Honorable EP Chet. Like what is going on? Look at this. What are you doing to me this morning? What is this? Huh? Just let a man talk. Now. Just let us talk. Let us talk. It's a good chat. It's a good sip. Come, Najak. What is this, class? What is this? Class, what is this? What is this? We're gonna. Oh, oh, oh. Who should we invite next? What is this? My lovely class, what is this? You know, Uncle James, he just gone again. I was getting there. Uncle James, I'm getting there. You know, what is this? What is? And here I could say stop asking the man on that topic because maybe every time I ask him and and that topic, boom, blackout. You know what I mean? Like connection gone. But I want y'all to know it's been a good chat. I trust that everybody's been enjoying the conversation. I trust that we've gotten more information. And even if we haven't, and you have more questions, like he's saying before he leaves, any question I didn't ask, send the question in the chat, like right now, so I can ask him. Um, Tricia says, she says, I understand Chet's position, though I don't agree. His news is what is interesting to him. He started a media house to push his own agenda. He can do that. Come on, guys. What is going on? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? He's back. He's back. What is this? We what is this? We like having this good chat, and then every time I ask you something, like boom, and then the classroom is like, what is going on? Welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm telling them to send the difficult questions, whatever question they have, send the questions. So when you leave, they can't say I didn't ask the questions. Uncle James is in the classroom, and James says, does he have plans to bring more prominent UP
Yes,
individual?
Yuval. I've been watching you on social media. My number is 779 Chet. Give me a call. I'd like to talk to you. I think you have a lot to offer this country. If I may say so myself, your current position doesn't allow you to give the service that I think you're capable of giving. So please give me a call. Let's have a talk.
James is in the United States, you know.
Well, he's Antiguan.
This
I take it
this
Antiguan.
same James, this same James is in the United States. James, you
Well,
heard me?
look, Antigua, no matter where you are on Earth. You
Of
could be in
course.
Mars. You could be in
Of,
Mars. Once you make contact with this rock that you call home, you have a
yeah.
role to play. I
Yeah.
follow James. He has made quite a few scathing comments about me, even. But again, if you know me, there's nothing personal about me. I don't take things personal. If you get to know me, you may get to like me. You may not like me after you get to know me. But I'm always open for conversation with Antiguans and Barbudans because we share one thing in common:
Yep.
this
Betterment of
country. And
Barbados.
if this country is our primary interest, then there must be somewhere we can congeal and work together.
Certainly. Somebody says you're recruiting hard. Somebody said, Chet, you're recruiting hard.
Never stop.
This other person says, ask him when he could fulfill he promised for fixed casa house in English Harbor.
I spoke to Casa yesterday. There's way to get the material. It's not the whole house. It's a gallery.
Oh, it's
And
just a
if it,
gallery.
yeah, and if you know me, try fix Casa House Ubuntu, or make it try help me.
Yeah, and why you say it like that? And it's just the gallery. Ubuntu, what is that? What is that? Huh? Let's go through some more of the comments here. This person says, Chet Gaston, so you can't raise your hand, so you cannot entertain Nikki's question about becoming PM.
Come on, Joycelyn. Why are you trying to foment confusion in the Labour Party? It never happened during election season. Won't happen now, and certainly won't happen to Chet Green.
It says here, Chet Green's comment on his WTP evening program last week. He stated that Gaston's letter to the Caribbean heads of judiciary should be considered a retraction of what Gaston said in the August 10th meeting, which of course was the threat of deportation of a judge. Has Gaston Brown himself said he retracted it? Last time I checked, he said no apologies, so which is it? Threat of deportation and wanting firmer sentences are two separate things, so let's not conflate them. When
Alfred, let's not conflict. Alfred, let's not conflate them. I want you to read my editorial in my paper this week, St. Paul's Weekly. where I speak to the issue again. And if Alfred has not yet followed the news, I wrote last week to the Commonwealth Magistrates and Judges Association, and they responded in a different tenor, which allows for conversation, which is all I'm saying. Right. A lot of people last week dwell on the comment of deportation and non grata and missed the bigger picture of the issue of crime and violence, especially gun crimes in Antigua Barbuda, and the whole question of sentencing. What we need to have, Alfred, is a conversation with the people. And Nikki, if I may encourage you to have that conversation platform,
Of course.
because whether you go to Kennedy's Rum Shop, West Bus Station, East Bus Station, taxi stand, people are talking about it. People are actually discussing the issue. People are taking issue with the light sentences being given to criminals. And if we're going to arrest this crime scourge we're currently witnessing, there's need for the tripartite of government, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary to work together. And the notion about independence, let's just not pretend not to understand what it means. It's more non-interference than independence. The judges are allowed to work on their own, the parliament is own, the executive is own. But there has to be that level of understanding between the three for it to work, for the system to work. The fact that they form the system means independence cannot be without some sort of relation or recognition of each other. Antigua is independent, Sing is independent. We can't direct their foreign policy, but we speak. We know the things that affect us and affect them, and we have those conversations. But that
Yep.
does not just use the comments about deportation and make that be the sum total of the conversation. There's a bigger conversation that needs to happen. There's a bigger problem that's looming. And we need to weigh in on it in a way that the world see that we're on the top of our game.
Okay. Excellent. The classroom is sending in the questions. Eustace says, what is the worth of a passport that cannot be used in the places that it once was able to be used?
Eustace Raymond, Antigua passport is still the number 3 passport within the Caribbean, 12th or so over the international system. The value of the passport will change from time to time because as sovereign countries make sovereign decisions, they impact on the passport. And so, if the United States decide that they're not granting visas to Antigua and Barbuda ever again, neither me or you can do anything about that. If the Europeans decide that 2028 is when they want or CIP to end, or suffer the consequences of reduction in the value of the passport, that is it. Governments are called upon to do what we're doing, negotiate, find solutions, because we understand the value of the passport. We understand the importance. And I gave you at least 3 scenarios: education, trade, health. Those 3 areas are impacted by the US visa situation right now. And so government continues to work on the people's behalf to find solutions to those challenges. But
Okay.
those challenges are not self-inflicted. What you have to do when they arise is to deal with them. And there's no better way to deal with them than when you have a united country.
Yes. This question is coming from Carol. Carol says, question the minister, when will residential lands become available to the low and middle income constituents to improve their living standard or their standard of living?
That's Carol, my cousin. Carol, how are you doing this morning? Carol, we have that going on. We have not only lands, but we have housing projects going on for the middle and low income persons. The starter homes at Chapel, those are for low income. Government price of land has always been affordable when compared to private lands. If you ask me about our community, Carol, we don't have much land in Liberta or St. Paul's in English, but there's one last area of land, middle ground, in Liberta. There are hundreds of acres of land, but it's owned by the Martin family. We are still seeking to have that conversation and agreement to buy a couple of acres off the Martin family to extend the village of Liberta. And why I say buy? Because if we buy them from the Martin family, then we can afford to fulfill what you're asking for, low and middle income. if you buy them from the Martin family directly, you know that you can't afford them. They go on high end again. So government continues to intervene in those situations to allow for low income and middle income persons to share the sweets, so to speak, by way of housing and land ownership.
Okay, so guys, we're winding down, and I know some of you might have been hearing a little talking in the background over here. My munch is home because it's summer, so I do apologize for the little sounds of any little pitter patter and screaming and little whatever you might have heard coming through the live. This question, we're just going to take at least two more questions, and then I'm going to give the Honorable Chet Green an opportunity to say his wrapping up comments and invite him again to come and have a sip with us. And I'm just going to wrap up the program. But this question we're going to ask here, this one is from Kevin. Kevin says, Chet, me feels you just need to step up for Antigua and raise your head and stop coup leadership. I believe you will make a better prime minister for Antigua. Antigua first, every time, all the time.
Thanks for your confidence, Kevin. But as I said, Antigua has a prime minister. Antigua and Barbados has a prime minister. There's no vacancy, and so therefore conversation is just a futile exercise. Why do we engage in exercise of futility? I think what we need to do is to throw our support behind of critical support behind the prime minister with policies where those policies are deemed to be best for Antigua Barbados people. We give support. Where the policies do not quite meet your approval, register your concerns and let us have those changes made. It doesn't always have to be a braha, a loud noise. I think I've proven in my own way that you can accomplish much without noise.
Mr. Diplomatic, it's lovely to have a conversation with you and have you in the classroom, you know.
I
This one
hope
is
I
from,
qualify. I hope I qualify as a student.
you're qualifying quite well, actually.
Last week they gave me an honorary professorship,
Oh,
the
really?
International University of America of Bangladesh.
Congratulations.
So maybe you can invite me as one of your professors.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. I'll ask the classroom first. They get to see. Michelle says, what is considered a low income home? What's the cost of a low income home?
The truth is, Michelle, I don't carry costs in my head. I tried something I don't do. You ask what gets left out in my life. I don't carry numbers in my head, phone numbers, costs, and so on. But I'm talking about homes that are affordable to police officers, teachers, persons of the middle income bracket, low income persons in public service or public sector. And we continue every day to see if we can find ways of driving those costs lower. So Minister Turner, for example, when the China they're looking at building materials, because our ambition is to have every family in Antigua and Barbuda have a home, own a home. It is not easy. We know the prices are, for the most part, beyond us. Because when you talk about shipping costs, we have absolutely no control of shipping costs. Rising costs around the world, we know what is happening there, what's driving that. Senseless wars here, there, and everywhere. But as much as we can, we intervene and we mitigate to help our people to own properties. Government, for example, incentivize home construction. We have the Happy program that builds homes for persons who are indigent and less fortunate. We have the Cabby program and other initiatives that allow first homeowners certain concessions. So government is always intervening to assist young people, citizens in general, to own their own home. There's no greater joy, believe me, no greater joy for a father than to look up and say, this is the roof I put over the head of my family.
Mhm.
For a young person, I know the feeling of owning a piece of rock. When Dr. Williams allowed me opportunity, and I say allowed me opportunity because other persons applied, I got a chance to buy a piece of land in Piccadilly. Again, stupid me, one would say. I sold the land at the same price I paid for it.
Mm.
After I built my home here, look, I'm not in a land grab, okay? If I'm not using it, I don't want it. And so I sold land for the same price I paid for it to another young man from the community who built his home there. And so I feel a sense of satisfaction to know that I would have assisted someone like I was assisted in owning a piece of the rock. But we continue to make those interventions, Michelle, to assist persons to own their own home.
Ali says, Chet, do you assist people outside of your constituency? And when you ask that, please repeat your telephone number because Tika's been asking for it. Do not touch your phone because when you touch your phone to
Yeah,
repeat,
and don't call the phone now because you call the phone now, you block me from this program.
don't talk the phone, don't call the phone. Nobody calls the phone. Don't touch the phone, don't call the phone. So Ali wants to know if you help assistant or if you assist individuals outside of
I
your.
do help persons at the constituency, but it depends on what
Okay. And
and the
your
extent to which I do so.
and your
I mean,
telephone
every day it's a
number.
daily thing. I mean, I I guess I missed some of my visitors this morning already who came calling, but I'm here with you, so I could not answer.
We
Um,
apologize.
as chairman of the party, see, again, I'm not just an MP. I'm not just a minister. I'm also chairman of the party, the nation's foremost political institution, and I have a responsibility to ensure that persons across the country can have access to me and to anything that the party represents or offers by way of support services.
Mm-hmm. You're getting some good comments here. I just want to read a couple of them for you quickly. Tika Brathwaite, you better not give out the wrong medication while you're watching the live. You see, I have students who even at work, at class, wherever they might be, and they're part of the classroom. This one says teacher gets approval only because of a second income or help from parents or a spouse. This is regarding the housing that you're speaking about.
Well, again, we're trying to drive those situations down because we understand that the level of earning for some persons would not qualify them in the banking system. And so, yes, for teacher who has a second job or who can pool with their spouse. And so that brings us to a very important point, observation, that the union that we should be promoting a family is also helpful in one achieving the objective or ambition of owning a home. So when you can pool the income of husband and wife, it becomes more doable or easier.
Mm-hmm.
So my dear teachers, not forcing the marriage, but encourage you certainly to get married. Maybe some of the societal ills we're looking at now, single parent. We hear the complaints every day about single parent mothers.
Mm-hmm.
So why not have some of our single parent mothers become wedded wives? And that has an added advantage where you pool resources now and go to the bank to own a home
Yeah.
so that you can better prepare and provide for your children.
Serena says, very impressed, Minister Green. Love the care you show to your mom. And I must say, you've been visible from what I see online in your constituency.
Thank you, Serena. I was born there, so for me, it's not anything contrived, nothing made up. It's just natural.
Okay, and this one, Anne MacDonald. Anne says, one thing we mostly agree on is we are not happy with leadership. We see attempts to improve tact, but then something happens to set us back. Change in leadership is important.
Change is only constant in life, and but let me also caution us: don't change for the sake of changing. There's an old saying: "You know where how, but you know where you get."
Mm. Any person, but sometimes you'd know you get because you can see better ahead. I'm just saying. Any person who went along with 2020 and beyond on the Brown should not have it easy to win again unless they go against what put us in this predicament. Henry, I'm not sure and understand where you're coming.
What predicament is it, Henry? I don't understand the predicament.
Henry, I'm not sure about that one, Henry. I
If you
don't
can
know.
qualify the predicament, I could respond, but the predicament that he speaks to, it is not qualified, and so I can't comment.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know either. Let's read some more comments here. Going up to the top, there's quite a few I had missed earlier. And somebody says, tell Chet Jacinta Goodwin's sister need the land.
All right, Therese, you need to come home. Evans James and Relton James Grand Picnic, you never come back to the world and live.
Look how you tell people business like that. That's not
I
what
know
we
them.
hear.
I know them. They're my people. The piece of land their grandfather they left the Green Hill, come build a house on the piece of land in Green Hill.
Oh, Teresa says, Chet, I need a piece of land, my Liberty community, where my whole family come from.
But I just told you that. Well,
Just no business.
like I said, we're trying to get some lands from the Martin family. We have some lands in Table Garden, New Village, as we more publicly commonly call it. And so you can go to Chapper, Terrace Phillip, and ask if you're interested for a plot of land in New Village. The lands are now, they have been surveyed and allocations are now being done. As a matter of fact, one portion of the land is to put down a housing complex for low income families as well. So
Okay.
good time to talk about that matter.
Nicole says, so Nikki, what can we say we learn regarding CIP and visa issues? I am yet to have a clear understanding as we are
Abso-
wrapping up.
I'm so sorry. Some students just don't quite understand it
No,
first
this
first
student
time.
have a baby. So this student would go and do baby duties and come back
Oh,
as mommy.
oh, okay, okay.
She's allowed.
Well, what we're doing, Nikki, Nicole, Athil, is that we're in a holding pattern, a waiting pattern. We have written to the U.S. government. We wait the response. And the CIP, the leaders of these in Caribbean, the CIP programs, are waiting a meeting with the European Union. Those are the positions, current positions on those two matters.
And I would give you an opportunity to give your closing comments, anything that we didn't get a chance to address or you didn't get a chance to share with the general public.
An interesting class, I would say, diverse in their outlook. It is what we need more of in Antigua Barbuda. Sober, rational, responsible, and respectful engagements, focusing on things that affect us in our country. For too long and for too far, we rapidly blinded by color-coded politics and do not have the ability or do not display the ability of tolerance for opposing views. You may not agree with anything I say on this live today, but one thing I will say is that I found from your class, from you as a host, there was respect, and we were able to have a conversation for as long as we had it.
Of course.
Again, I commend you on hosting. I commend your class members on their participation, and for the listeners and viewers, who many of whom did not write in or call in. I hope that in some way, no, I wouldn't try to quantify or qualify it, but some way that I would have made a difference in terms of how you see matters of governing and governance in our country. We are a small nation. We are in a particular period of global history, which requires togetherness, which requires responsible, mature discussion, responsible, mature thinking. We have to be less combative and more united in the way we present ourselves to the world. When the US, for example, hear utterances from St. John's, and I use St. John's, of course, as our capital city, on the visa issue or on the TCN issue, which is not projecting a unified position of a country, it leaves room for them to play. So we need to understand that what we say and how we say it, what we do and how we do it, can be to our advantage or can
Yes.
be held and worked used against us. I'm not asking we all have the same political pants. In as much as I'm recruiting persons to join the Labour Party, I do want opposition, but I want credible, sensible, meaningful, responsible opposition. Let it be based on policy. Let it be something that we're not doing in government that you can do better and do different. Not just simple idle chatter. We have to get away from those kinds of approaches in this particular era. It's not Antigua Barbuda alone. While our conversation this morning was predominantly about Antigua Barbuda, you can take out Antigua Barbuda of every conversation and place any other Caribbean country in the boxes, because we are all similarly affected by the policies of the European Union and the United States. Small countries are becoming less and less important in the dynamics, global dynamics. Multilateralism, as we know it, is changing. The world order is changing. And the world order, where we see the shift headed, is not placing any value on small countries. And so that's why I said that I believe that in terms of the integration process, those who are anti-integration, you need to relook that. Because ultimately it's about markets, it's about people, numbers. By ourselves, we don't have the numbers required to do anything. So we have the country, the numbers with St. Kitts, with Dominica, with Grenada, the entire CARICOM region. First, the sub-region of OECS, then the wider region of CARICOM, then the Americas. So we have to understand where we sit in all of these arrangements and how to best position Antigua Barbuda. As your foreign minister, I want to assure you that every day the job is about securing benefits and interests of Antigua Barbuda. Our politics is such that we don't give credit to each other. We find ways to berate, to tear down, and to make it seem as if nothing good happens in, from, or with our country. We need to reset that thinking, become more progressive, certainly more patriotic, in our thoughts and in our actions. Again, I want to be very clear because nobody must misquote me. I'm not saying that we don't want opposition or that everything must be Labour Party, but we must understand where national interests lie, where national interests either separate from or converge with political interests. Because if we don't see that difference, the difference will certainly catch us.
Yes.
And too often, much of our discussions, much of our differences are just simply personality list or color coded. See less color, see less personality, see more Antigua Barbuda.
Yes.
For those of you who have given all of your plaudits this morning, I thank you for recognizing the work I do. But I do it not as me, I do it on your behalf as a country. Thank you, those of you who pray, because I'm a praying person, I believe in prayer.
Of course.
And I hope I have helped you better understand how government works, the relationship that is required and so necessary to have functional government. We have seen governments collapse because of internal squabbles, because of personal ambitions rising above national interests. You will never ever get it to say Chet Green supplanting his personal interests or national interests. No matter what you think about me or think about the Prime Minister, we are a team working on your behalf in your interests. I will not, I repeat as I close, I will not engage in a conversation that talks about me becoming Prime Minister because there's no vacancy in the position of Prime Minister. Anytime you have a vacancy, call me. I'll put up, like one of the students said, I'll put up my hand and put up my head. But until such time,
Yes.
see me as a humble public servant, respectful of the leadership of the government of Antigua Barbuda, Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who, in my opinion, and I hope you'll take it away with you as you take away other things, is doing a good job for the country. You may not like the fact he's bald headed. You may not like the fact he's bow legged.
Don't get the interview started again, Honorable
No, I'm not
EP.
starting. I'm not starting. I'm just saying.
Those are
I'm
not
just
a
giving.
fact.
I'm making my
Don't use
closing
that
point. I'm
word.
making my closing point here. Whatever the reason you may not like him,
Yes.
the one thing we have to agree that his job performance, it is something that is bringing benefits to Antigua Barbuda's people. So, Nikki, thank you again for the opportunity to be with you this morning.
Of course.
I look forward to any other occasion that I can, and give a
Class
commitment
says
that
come
I'll give a
again.
commitment that I will.
The class says come again. I see one person says come again. Another person said that they're going to enjoy. Safi says, after this interview, I'll be enjoying my yoga class even better.
All right, Safi, yoga
That's
for
how
me,
we do it.
yoga for me, yoga for you. And for the person who wanted my number is 779 Chet, 779-2438.
Yes.
So
Honorable
I
EP, thank you.
I consider this first assignment for the day
Yes.
in the service of Antigua Barbuda. Thank
Well
you.
done.
Have a good day. And if this is what this platform now projects,
This platform has always been this.
okay,
Honorable EP,
let me
don't
change, let
get
me
me.
change it.
What?
Okay, if
Don't get me there.
because I've not been following the platform, I'm not been following. To be honest with you, after the cost me of a couple of times, I didn't follow.
Yeah, well, I still, you know, you come to get it. Oh, that's why you see getting your feelings?
No,
Nah.
no, not feelings, not feelings. News
Why
about
you
interest.
stop?
If your
Why you,
interest is not me, hey, no big deal.
so if I cuss you again, you gonna stop watching me again?
Maybe for a while until
And
you
then you
call me
watch me
again.
again?
I watch you
Until
again. You're trouble. But thank you for the opportunity and to your class. Hey, stay
of
true to the
course.
nation. Stay true to the ambition of this country to become a powerhouse. We
Yes.
can do it. Look, we built Europe. We built UK in particular as a powerhouse. Our Caribbean, Antigua, Barbuda, they were built United States as a global powerhouse.
Hmm.
If we can build theirs, we can build ours. Believe in ourselves.
True.
If nothing else, believe in ourselves. We have the capacity. And we have added tiers, layers to that. When we brought the Five Islands to town, it was to make sure we build capacity so that the mission of building a powerhouse is also not only a physical building, but intellectual, mental capacity is also attached to the work we do. I think you're doing a wonderful job, Nikki. God bless you.
Thank
Much
you, and
love.
you too.
Much
And
love and thanks.
everybody said that you're good, and they say you're coming back. Cause normally the classroom will tell me who to bring back and not to bring back. Okay, so even Ika says he's honest. LOL. And everybody say continue to do the good work and really enjoy your day. Give your our love to your mom on a real. Continue to
Well,
do what you're doing, and may the Most High God guide you. You know,
thank you.
and I know that you're Mr. Diplomatic, but we want some more fire under you. You know, I'm just saying as you're going, I
What
just want
fire?
some
What
more
fire? You
fire.
see,
I just want some more
there's too much
fire.
noise. There's too much noise in town.
It's
We
not
need to
no
tone
fire.
it. We need to tone it down.
No, your stove too like warm now. You
Tone it
gotta
down. Tone it down, Nikki. Tone it down.
turn up the
Let's
knob.
work. Let's work. Let's us work together and get the job done.
Yeah, but you know sometimes when you're
Decibels
cooking a
don't get the
pot,
job done.
let me give you an analogy. Sometimes you're cooking a pot and the pot just taking so long, and you just turn up the heat a little bit more now. Wink, wink.
You're burning the
Sometimes
food. You're burning the food. You're forcing
that is
food.
if it's
It's like
too
okay,
high.
see, it's like fruits. Let's take a mango. A mango ripen good. You're gonna funk the mango, but you don't enjoy the mango. Let's not force it. Let it happen organically. Let it happen. It is happening. It is not Nescafe. Do not look for Nescafe moments in government.
Yes,
Okay?
it happened.
It's a quick fix. Some things will take generations. You see, even the notion of economic powerhouse, it may not happen in our lifetimes.
True.
But if we have that as a national ambition, succeeding generations continue to work until at some point it happens.
Yes. I'm saying enjoy your day.
So it's not about
Wink,
noise. It's not about
wink.
noise.
Do a point five on the
Stealth,
stove.
stealth,
Wink, wink. Take
stealth.
care.
It's about stealth. Have a good one.
Take care, of
Bye
course.
bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, my classroom. That is a wrap. That is a wrap for that one. Come on, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. I want to see a round of applause in the chat for yourself, okay? Because we didn't have any unruly behavior. Well, not much. We had an alley we had to block. And then there was a clear hearse I completely ignored. But the class did the job. Sippers, I am exceptionally proud of all of you for your questions. Gregory Attil in the house. Gregory says great discussion. Hey Gregory, how you doing? So I say class, put a little clappy, clappy, clappy. Let me see your hands of applause in the chat. I need to see the chat going up. Let Facebook know that we had a really good discussion with the Honorable EP Chet Green right here on Morning Sip every Monday and Wednesday from 7 a.m. Caribbean time, 12 p.m. UK time. I want to let you all know that the platform is open, the space is open. Keep putting the, let me see them, let me see them. Keep putting the round of applause. Let me put your sticky fingers, your thumbs up, send some stars, send some PayPal, send a cup of coffee, man. It's an independent space. You gotta monetize the thing, or else we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Eh? Or else I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Or else we're gonna just, be able to bring anybody here and still have that discussion. I truly, truly enjoy the discussion. I want to let you all know when I was preparing, I do all my different research and so on. And I'm like, this question, I'm going to ask it that question. Then I read another person's question and another person's question. But I think that the discussion went exactly how it's supposed to go. If there's anything that we didn't touch on, if there's anything I didn't ask, please send a message, send an email, ask me it, rewatch this live. And I'm going to do a rebroadcast of this live on Wednesday. I think it's that good and that important for us to replay. So on Wednesday, we're gonna replay this same live. My eyes are burning a little bit. Sorry. Uh, on Wednesday, we're gonna replay this. Yes. Safi, what are you saying? Safi says next interview should be with Honorable Gaston Brown. Safi, look at my face. What are you saying? What are you saying, Safi? What are you saying, Safi? What is that? Hey, Safi? What are you saying, Safi? My eyes burning. I usually put olive oil on my face and oil on my skin, and then sometimes I guess with the sweat and so on, it just comes down into your eyes. It's so uncomfortable. But class, we did a very good job. We had a long run, 2 hours and 47 minutes of classroom time. And we want to thank the Honorable E.P. Chet Green. This interview was planned weeks ago because he's been very busy and traveling. And I'm happy. I'm happy, happy, happy that we had this discussion. I trust that you truly understand. If there's anything that we don't understand, any question, anything at all, send it to the platform. We'll send it to the Honorable E.P. Chet Green, and we're going to be, doing what we do here. This is us doing our part. When we have these discussions, when we, why am I crying? For the idea, Safi, you said what? And I was like, no, behave yourself. So I'm saying, I trust you have an exceptional week, an exceptional day today, Monday. Be blessed, stay prayed up. Remember, our scripture for today is Luke 1:37. Nothing is impossible with the Most High God. Absolutely nothing. And I want to read the scripture for you quickly. Don't run away. Let me read it. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, don't move. Don't even touch that thing. Let me read the word for you today. Luke 1:37, but I'm going to go from 36 so you get a little bit. 36 says, And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she had also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month with her who was called barren. Elizabeth was called barren in her old age. God blessed her with a child. And 37 says, For with God nothing shall be impossible. And 38 says, And Mary said, Behold, the handmaid of the Lord, be it unto me according to thy word. And the angel departed from her. So let the word come to you today, into your life, into your situation, into your very existence, that there is nothing under the sun that is impossible with the Most High God. So as you go through the day, go through your week, you just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that faith is the substance of all things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Stay prayed up. That's what SIP means. Stay in prayer. Faith without works is dead. And we just have to pray to the Most High God. Prayer changes things. It moves mountains. Yeah, so I want to just bless you up today, leave you with the word. On Wednesday, we're going to do a replay of this live, this particular discussion with the Honorable E.P. Chet Green. Classroom, tell me who else we should be bringing in the class for next week. Tell me where you want us to go with this class and the next conversation. Again, I thank you for all your participation. Share the live, tag a few individuals. Do what you do. When you do it to the best and best and best of your ability. Yeah? Heavenly Father, thank you for who you are, God, because again, there's none like you and there's none that can match you. Thank you for your favor and for your grace. Thank you for your direction. Thank you for your presence in this conversation, on this platform, in this space, in my life, and everything that concerns me. Thank you for those under the sound of my voice. Thank you for every individual who tuned into this live and those who will watch it afterwards. Thank you, oh God, that you would always use us, oh God, to do a new thing. Do a new thing in our lives. Do a new thing in Antigua and Barbuda. You shift and move, oh God, and you use opportunities, oh God, to navigate, oh God, so that you can bring the blessings and the favor for Antiguans and Barbudans, every single citizen, every single individual, God, that you would elevate their lives, mind, body, and spirit, every aspect of Antigua and Barbuda. We ask that your favor would continue to find Antigua and Barbuda, and those who are in Antigua and Barbuda and within the diaspora, those who are connected, God, not only on the land, oh God, but connecting hearts and minds and desires, oh God, for the betterment of Antigua and Barbuda. So we thank you for the opportunity of this space of independence. We thank you that you can give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to navigate discussions, oh God, according to your will and your purpose. We thank you for setting us apart, oh God, from any other. We thank you for this space, for this SIP, for every one of 25, for every individual that invests their time, their money, their energy, their sharing, their ideas. We just thank you, God, because there's none like you and there's nothing impossible or too hard for you to do. So we thank you on this day, August 24th, 2026. We say, let your will be done in our lives. In the name of the Most High God, amen. Amen, my loves. I got to run. If there's anything that I missed, send me a message. Somebody said Gaston Brown next week. Send me a message. See, these lips. These lips. Behave yourself, Nikki. Enjoy your week. I'm going to go have some breakfast and get some more work done. But on Wednesday, we'll do a replay for this live. I truly enjoyed this discussion. I think I'm going to go watch it back. Like right now, I'm going to watch it. If you guys haven't watched the full discussion, take a listen, share the live, share it in the groups, share it in WhatsApp. Share it wherever you want to share it. But if I haven't answered anything, even if anything come up and say, oh yeah, we didn't ask this, oh we didn't ask that, send it to the classroom. We are always going beyond the headlines. That's how we teach. It's a teaching space Be blessed, be blessed, be blessed, be blessed. Enjoy your Monday. Make some movements, okay? Go ahead. Have some fun. You got my permission. Go